Die might get repeat. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the EU Pro League. My name is Ton, and I'm here this week with Toby Campbell. He's made it through. We've let him come through this week. We usually have through, but we said, you know what, we're gonna let Toby come in here, cast some Gears of War, because we know how much he loves Gears of War, just like me and you. But an interesting show this week, Toby. As said, we were having a little chat about it beforehand, and we're on to a completely different escalation. To a point. I say completely different. Not that different, but it's different enough that we have to talk about it. First and foremost, though, excited to be here. Excited for the matches.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
What?
I knew you would be. I know.
Mate, this is the week that I come cast the game when we have these huge changes. First to 5, boom and drop in middle.
It's like we scheduled it.
All of my wishes have come true on this, ready for this day. Yeah, and couldn't be happier.
Exactly.
I think it's extremely exciting to see actually how these teams get on. I was watching some of the NA Pro League last night, and safe to say, I do like first to 5.
Yeah, I think we're potentially going to see some different things this week, of course. But if you didn't catch the changes, this is what has actually changed here. As you can see, the rounds, which were previously 7, have now went down to 5. Initial lives, which were previously 5, have went down to 4. And I mean, you can read. I don't need to read this out for you. But you know, there's a big amount of changes. For me, the biggest one here is the fact that the boom shot and drop shot can no longer be built on the secondary home weapon slots. So you know, when you see the guys that are building like drop shots and boom shots up on their home hills, like the home drop shot points, then that's not going to come in so much. We're going to see these big power weapons, but only in the middle, and we're going to see maybe those supporting weapons a little bit more. So not so much about who can hit these big shots with the drop shot or the boom shot, of course. It's now so more about your core gameplay, it feels.
Yeah, honestly, with the previous meta of having drop shots from spawn, it really felt like it was the team that was better with the drop shot winning these all-important initials. And it was just a cluster of explosions going off left, right, and centre. And I can't help but think, you know, perhaps these new viewers to Gears of War, they might be thinking, hey, I mean, what's going on? I just see explosions of fireworks everywhere. Yes, it's intense and it's really enjoyable to see, but not really sure as to what's going on. And I guess now we actually have a bit more of an understanding for, veteran fans as well. And of course, boom and drop shot only in the middle. Those are the big weapons that teams can actually start, you know, thinking about. Hey, let's put these down the middle now, rather than having a very necessary placement off spawn. I really like it.
Well, the players are going to have to adapt to these changes, but will these changes change the leaderboard? Let's have a look at how things have went down in Europe so far. And no surprise to see EU's finest at the top, although saying that, they haven't necessarily had a cruising victories all the way through. They have been hard fought, especially last week up against Our Damage. It was a cracking game. If you did miss it, go back and watch that one. As I said, though, Our Damage in second place, only 1 point behind. Obey Alliance and Rated R in the bottom 2. Now, of course, as we get further towards the end here, yes, okay, these placements are good for you, seed, I believe, going into San Diego, but you don't want to be near the bottom. Is what we've sort of deducted. You do not want to be in that potential relegation spot. Rated R there right now. They're going up against Our Damage in our second game. But first game is going to be EU's finest against Obey Alliance. So let's talk a little bit about that one, Toby. OB Alliance have been hit and miss for me. There's been occasions where they've looked really, really good. Their slaying ability, I mean, they've got Saki, who has the most kills, but also the most deaths in the league right now in their team. And he's a player who can cause issues for anybody. But going up against EU's Finest, who are looking more like the team we expected them to be than the team we've seen at the very beginning of the Pro League, where they lost to Rated R in pretty convincing fashion. But since then, they've been fairly dominant outside of last week.
I think these two teams now are probably the most in form out of the four currently as of the last 2 weeks. And I kind of feel sorry for Obey in a way that they have to come up against eventually EU's Finest this week. They've been doing so well in this latter half, if you will, of the Pro League. Didn't start off too well at the start, as we keep mentioning on the podcast, and now they're starting to really find their footing. They've had some incredible wins. But now they've got the all-important task of trying to take that to EU's Finest. But, I mean, this is also an opportunity. It was the same for our Damage. It was an opportunity to go against EU's Finest in perhaps a not as great form historically for this team. Yes, EU's Finest are now equally so finding the footing, but maybe Obey could actually cause the upset here. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, look, when we talked on Changing Gates 2 weeks ago, we talked about our Damage against EU's Finest, and we were, hands up, we said EU's Finest is going to smoke them, because we just didn't really see a lot from our Damage. But then last week they really turned up to play, and it was a cracking game. I mean, it come down, what was it, 7-4 last map, but the other two maps were 7-6, so it could have been 2-0 our Damage, let's be honest. I think OB Alliance will look at that and take some confidence and sort of say, well, you know, the changes have happened, which is maybe going to throw a spanner in the works, so to speak, but they are human. They do bleed. The EU's Finest are not this all-elusive god team now that can't be beaten in Europe. They can be beaten. We've seen it before. Yes, okay, it is online, and people will talk about that, but they can be beaten. And I think OB Alliance will be looking at last week's results and saying, right, what did our Damage do well? What threw EU's Finest off? But then they have to take into consideration the fact that we've pretty much changed the meta completely this week. So there's plenty of things that they have to take into consideration, but it's not completely out of the question. I do believe we have the picks and bans ready to go very, very shortly, so we'll have a read through that very, very shortly. We have them right now. I will just read them out for you. EU's Finest banning away District. They did lose that last week to our Damage, so no surprises there. Exhibit then going from OB Alliance. Again, no surprise. EU's Finest very solid at that map. Icebound coming in for Obey. I quite like that for them. In all honesty, I thought they were pretty good against Rated R on that map last week. TJ had a fantastic game for them to actually win that game against Rated R, so they'll be happy enough with that one. Bunker comes in. These two did actually play Bunker last time they met each other, and that was an EU's Finest victory in devastating fashion. And last time round, it was actually Obey's pick. They were happy with Bunker because they were the only team to actually have beaten EU's Finest on Bunker previously, and then EU's Finest put them to bed on that one last time, so no surprise to see that one come through once again. Training Ground gone from EU's Finest, which surprised me a little bit. Asylum coming through as a ban for OB Alliance is absolutely no surprises, though. I think they did actually have a relatively good time against EU's Finest last time they played this map, but they just couldn't quite get the job done. Vasgar coming through instead. So, I mean, for Obey there, it's a pick between Asylum and Vasgar. They've looked pretty good on Vasgar every single time we've watched them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised we see Vasgar again. It seems like every time Obey is playing,
if they have the chance to pick it,
right?
Yeah.
And, you know, this could be one of the maps where Obey can throw the spanner in the works of EU's Finest and upset the flow of things.
Yeah.
Icebound, I think that's a good pick for Obey, honestly. I do like that in particular. In terms of Bunker, you nailed it on the head. EU's Finest, they did give them a bit of a thrashing right on this map.
What I will say is that in previous matchups when they had watched Obey Alliance go up against other teams on this map, they had a specific way that they played. It was more about the home hill build-ups and then trying to go from there and then trying to get picks with a talkbow, etc., etc. EU's Finest threw a drop down in the middle of the map pretty much straight away. So that just completely offset Obey's plan. They couldn't contest these initials against EU's Finest because, let's face it, who can? And it's always a bit of an issue. And they just got, I think... I don't want to say outplayed. They got outbrained to a point where EU's Finest just played it really nicely. So maybe if you're OB Alliance, you know, you haven't banned that away this time round. You're more concerned about Exhibit. So hopefully that OB are now looking at that one and say, well, we know our mistakes last time. The meta's completely shifted now with the changes to escalation. Possibly we can have a stab at them here. When I'm thinking about predictions, though, Toby, I am going to ask you for yours in a second. I need to see an OB Alliance win a map number 1 for them to have a chance here. I need to see one. I think if they lose Icebound, it's done.
Absolutely. I think Icebound presents an opportunity now for Obey to really show if they've done their homework or not, right? Yeah. We've seen, typically, this map in particular, drop shots have been so crucial in that up-top fight and dictating who gets control of the whole map as a result. So maybe, just maybe, with this playing out a bit differently now because of that, Obey have an opportunity here, and I agree with you. I think they really need to win this. I see Bunker, EU's finest, they're just going to do their usual thing, to run in and get those kills and outslay. And Vazkar is that potential map that gives Obey a chance at winning.
And I think when I think about the changes that have come through, and this might be me just theory crafting, to be honest, but I feel like Vazkar is a map that's going to be really affected by it, because there is never middle placements on Vazkar. Never. It's always home hills. Whereas the other maps you can sort of say there is middle placements to a point, so you can't play around that, because obviously we're going to see more of that, more so towards the end of the game. Whereas now it's all about the home hills. All about those mid drops being powerful, whereas the home hills maybe not so much. I think it will change Vazkar quite a lot, and I think Obey were good at the previous version of Vazkar, but in this patch, in this meta, are they going to be able to carry that over? That's my question for them. But let's talk about the patch. A lot of players have been talking this week about the overkill. It's a weapon that a lot of people have been using, and no surprise. I think, the base ammo count is very much just giving you a more powerful Nasher for the whole round, essentially. It's not one of them where you've got maybe a couple of clips, you can get a couple of kills. You have got an abnormal amount of ammo to use in this. So we're seeing it come in quite a lot. What are we thinking? Are we thinking it is maybe a little bit overkill with how many... God, I shouldn't have said that. A little bit overkill with how many bullets it has, but its power is absolutely not to be underestimated.
It's huge in Gears 5. For those unaware, it's been buffed since Gears 4, safe to say. Range, damage, you said it, ammo as well. I know Breaker, he's playing an Obey. He said that you can essentially set up and make it impossible for the enemy team to break up your setup if you've got the right player holding that weapon at the front line. We'll have to see if that does play out. Watching North America, mind you, didn't see a huge amount of overkill. I thought, from how people were speaking on Twitter, that overkill was a must pick. But it's so far it's not been the case for me. And so curious to see. Actually, I'm sure Obey will be going along with Breaker's in-game leadership and like throwing the overkill down straight away. EU's finest. Curious to see if they actually put an overkill or two down for this match, but I wouldn't be surprised if not, because it's EU's finest. They have the best shotguns in the region.
And I think it's one thing is that we are going to be answering a lot of questions here to ourselves. We really don't know how these teams are going to play it. It can vary from region to region. The new meta is coming in now, and we're seeing a brand new escalation in a way. And will it change any of the results? Will it make certain teams stronger? Who knows? It's a question that will be hopefully answered by the end of this broadcast. But we're getting into it. EU's finest against Obey Alliance on Icebound map number 1. And as said, we do feel as if Obey Alliance have got to take this one to win this series. I think it's hard to pick against the EU's finest, though, Toby. Let's be honest.
It is very hard. I've been saying that Obey have the potential of taking this one, but realistically speaking, you'd expect the EU's finest to take this in both maps. Obey, if you're going to put on a performance, you need to do it this very first map, I believe, if you have a chance of winning.
So the big fight going on over towards Trading Post. There's no surprises there. It is actually going to be EU's finest, the first ones in, and there's so much control you can get from this area, and the fact that you can just drop down low so effectively is what EU's finest are making an advantage of now. Demonic is pushed up, Warrior Guns is there with the fire above, but Jack and Hydro are going to come in and eventually take Demonic down. Saki will get the drops onto Hydro and a couple, but it will not be enough to get them a hold of B. Trading Post control, B control, good start for EU's finest.
Yep, very good start. You can see Jack Fax on our screen here just watching over his teammates down at B and Obey. They're going to have to come out of respawn, and start making a play. You can see already Jack Fax, smart move here, just going straight back. They've got control of A and B. They don't need to be positioned aggressively. Let's play it slow while Obey are forced to push out this far.
TJ trying to get something done. The thing is here, they have got trade and post control, but they need to get them off of A because the rotation can come in so quickly over towards B. So a couple of kills need to come through if you are Obey Alliance. Crimson's is going to drop Breaker, but an aggressive push by TJ here. He was really the guy that got things done against Rated R, and that's a little bit of a misstep, you have to say, as 3 members of Obey do go down. Potential for an overextension coming through from EU's finest as they look towards C, look for the domination. It's a high power position that Demonic is in here now, but the smokes are going to come out, and that is going to help them make the push. Demonic taking shots from behind as well. The Vice just tightening that a little bit from EU's finest here. If they win these gunfights, it should be a domination. It's looking like it may be that way, and they're just lining up for Jack here. Give him 2, give him 3. Craze with the help as well. A simple enough round for EU's finest in round number 1.
Textbook gameplay from EU's finest, you know, pacing the game as per usual to their liking. You know, they got control of B. All the players then rotated all the way back to the home hill, knowing that Obey were trying to push out on the on their home hill. And, you know, they had the numbers advantage the whole time, Chris. And, you know, as soon as Obey committed to that push, they really needed as many numbers as they could. Not Demonic sitting back, Lancer, and everyone needs to get there fast. Wasn't the case, though, as EU's finest did. Just see it out as per usual, winning their team fight comfortably and overextending, using that numbers advantage to get the domination in the end. Now, in terms of weapon placement, that all-important screen now since the update, Chris, it is just utility for both teams.
Yep.
A very comfortable start. Not too surprised, honestly. You don't need to change things too much. And I'm sure Obey will perhaps be fancying themselves in this fight at start.
Well, let's see if Obey can actually get control of Trading Post this time round. They've actually just completely given it up here in trade-off, getting a hold of B very, very quickly. So that's an adaptation coming out of Obey Alliance. But can this adaptation turn into a win in the round? They are 1 down, as said. That's not going to help if TJ is just going to wipe out his own teammate, of course. That kill does come through, and EU's finest should be able to get a hold of that one. I like the idea. The execution maybe not quite there for Obey this time round, as Obey now find themselves in a bad spot. EU's finest will get a hold of C and B. And it's a difficult retake now, isn't it? The thing is, as well, you give up a lot of control up top here, which you have regained somewhat, as EU's finest did rotate over towards B. But you're not in an amazing spot here for your Obey Alliance, and that initial maybe risk didn't quite pay off.
And look at this, Hydrone is just watching over B, using the third-person camera of Gears of War to watch B from cover. And a teammate just above on the balcony, looking down on B. And, you know, there's no surprise here. It's once again, just like round 1, Jack Feck's not going inside Trading Post, keeping his distance to make it a very difficult push for Obey to try and break this setup.
Well, the smoke's going to start coming out. They're going to try and just get the lines of sight away from EU's finest here. They have managed to decap B. Still a cock team win condition at the top of your screen, but the player has been dropped up top. They should be able to get a hold of this one now. Obey Alliance, it's going to be Demonic just dipping and diving where he can. They will get a hold of B now. And EU's finest not able to do too much about that. The smokes come in, they're utilised well. Look at this push up top. They're trying to get rid of Saki out of Trading Post here. And they will get him out. They will now make a push over towards A. They have the numbers, and they just rotate around the map so seamlessly, don't they? They lose B, they say, well, we're just going to take control of somewhere else that's going to allow us to make a move in any which way direction we want to go. Phelpsy and Hydro, though, making a push over towards B. It seems as if Obey Alliance are sort of ready for this anyway. Phelpsy is put down quite low here. The refreeze comes through on the ice as well, so that's potentially something that could be used here. But EU's finest looking for the setup over towards B. The shot's still coming through. Obey Alliance not letting them have a sniff right now, Toby.
Yeah, you can see Phelpsy just peppering away at Demonic now, keeping him under pressure, despite receiving bullets on his end as well. But once again, EU's finest, their rotation gets them to this position, but they do need to continue on now. 20 seconds until Obey could take this round.
It's getting to the point now. It's going to be enough with a 1 cap. So if you are EU's finest, you do have to go now.
We're going to line up top here.
Engagement up top. Jack's going to try and get something done. Smoke comes through, and that'll slow down the push because you can't just run through smoke. Jack and Crazed should be going down here. Nicely done by Obey Alliance. They will lose B, but they will win the round. And that's just, it's nice and clean from Obey. In all honesty, I like the retake initially from them with the smoke push. And they just grind that one out. A 3-minute round goes over towards Obey Alliance. And that's more sort of the staple of EU's finest, is being these longer rounds where they've just suffocated the other team. But this time round, it's very hard for them to do anything as soon as B was in Obey Alliance's hands. They got over transition quite nicely, were able to lock that one down. So 1 apiece now. Marks are going to come in on the side of Obey. And I'd imagine that will probably be mirrored by EU's finest. Although, who knows, in all honesty, in this new meta. Things can be changed around very, very differently. Shock Grenade going to be put down, so maybe focusing on those initials rather than the control up top.
Yep, precisely that. I mean, honestly, so far it's just been all about these rotations. EU's finest is the best team for said aspect in Gears of War. I've been for a long time in Europe. Now, the question is, will the Marksr and Shock change up things
Well, it looks like the shock was wasted a little bit.
Yeah, it was a preemptive shock to stop Obey going for that push, but, you know, Obey, they haven't actually been contesting this trading post at all. They've been going for that quick B strike, that quick cap, but it hasn't actually come through for Obey. Now, I'm not sure, have they given away position? I mean, technically, yes, because JackFX has made his way into trading post, so Breaker is going to have to just keep an eye on him. Don't let JackFX put too much influence here from that position onto B.
He has a slight angle, but he is actually going to be pushed here. There's a couple of members of EU's Finest now making the push. We can see Obey going to have to wrap back round, and it's a very quick transition. They say to make the push, and it just flips so quickly. Phelpsy is going to find Breaker, will be dropped, should be picked back up. Jack and Co. Here is reinforcement. Crimson's is going to find a kill onto TJ as well, at least drop him anyway. Nicely done by EU's Finest. They will now rotate over towards B. TJ needs to get something done here. Not quite having the performance so far that he did last week. He was literally a one-man band for Obey Alliance. Right now, though, he's trying his best to stop the domination coming through, and I don't think he's going to be able to. I'd imagine Obey are not going to respawn back in. That should be a domination, but not quite. They have respawned back in, but it might just be straight into the fire. Soki's going to win an important gunfight there, though. You feel as if he doesn't take Craze down, that's it immediately in EU's Finest round, but they will get a hold of C. They will come back into the game, and they have a chance to get this round back yet.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Very well done from EU's Finest. Phelpsy still lurking. Will he get away? Yes, he will, actually. They do keep up the pressure to EU's Finest. Hydron, another down. Crimson's are down from B as well. So EU's Finest making it very hard for Obey to even get out of their spawn currently. And with the point situation that currently stands, this is not a pretty position at all for Obey. I mean, likelihood is to push up top using numbers. I mean, they could go for a break on B, but they'll need a lot more than that, Crest, due to the points differential now. They need kills at this point.
Breaker does have that Moxer in hand. I think he probably will just go for that ammo there. That's why we've seen him transitioning over. He has already taken that one. Phelpsy now has the shock as well. So something to work on here for Obey Alliance. I said they do have that Moxer, which you feel will give them a bit of an advantage on this B push because they can just put fire down if anyone who's trying to do anything about this push. The kills are going to come through, though, for EU's Finest momentarily. They have decapped B, have Obey. But 35 seconds is enough now for EU's Finest to win on one. Don't even think a B push would even work out here for Obey. Yeah. And immediately, they're in a tough spot here, aren't they? What do you do?
They've got the break, but sadly they haven't got the manpower now to actually see the kills through, and that's the important thing. This is why we have dominations and escalation and now eliminations in Gears 5. You have to, when you have an imminent round loss, you have to go for those kills, and sadly they really didn't make any significant play in any other area of the map to do just that, and so EU's Finest, they punished them one by one and kept them trapped in corners. Yeah,
it's one of those where, I mean, it's just too little too late. I'm surprised they actually respawned back in when they went a bad spot, but there's quite a few rounds to go. Just to point out to you guys that it is still the lives resetting at the end of round 6, as far as I'm aware, so I think, you know, people will be paying attention to that. You've got to be careful. You don't want to really give away too much because you've got 6 rounds to play with only 4 lives apiece. And if we just, if you bring the score back up there again, look at the eliminations. There is barely anything for Obey Alliance to work with so far. EU's trying to slaying them off the park right now. We did see an Embar and a Talkboard be dropped though. Talkboard there for Obey, Embar now for EU's Finest. In which direction does this round go now with some powerful weapons starting to come into play?
See what Craze can do. Lovely spot with the Embar here. He's got such amazing amount of cover from everywhere on the map there that you could literally just keep charging that up over towards B and keep the heads down over Obey. Rotating to this window, and he could really do some work here with the Embar. He's going to go straight up top, actually.
Well, Warrior Guns is the one with the Talkboard on the other side of things. He will spot that out. Yeah. One bullet already used from Warrior Guns as well, just to keep them off, and this is what Craze is going to be picking for, surely.
Yeah, issue with Warrior having a Talkboard here is he can't just keep charging it. One, it would be a waste of ammo, and two, Craze can just shoot him down instantly, so, you know, I'd much rather have an Embar in this situation.
That's whistled past his head, and it will force Warrior Guns back. And look at the push here from EU's Finest over towards A. They're actually going to run into quite a lot of members of Obey Alliance who are ready for this push. There should be a couple of kills in their favour. Jack has managed to get a kill and get out. Is he going to find the second? Breaker will be able to find that. So nicely done by OB Alliance. They have defended well. Now can they get aggressive with their numbers over towards B? It's looking like they're trying, but that M-bar over there from Crazed will make things difficult as this push keeps coming through over towards A. But it is B in the hands now of OB Alliance. TJ's not going to be able to get out of there, though. They may lose their home hill if they're not careful. Hydro and Co will get a couple of kills here. Phelps will back on down. Does not have much help from his team. He should drop immediately and does so. But for all this pressure that comes through, it's just negated the pressure over towards B. EU's Finest somehow find themselves on top out of the back of that exchange, which really felt like an OB Alliance hold.
Yep, again, rotations on point from EU's Finest, always proactive. Craze, of course, still alive, still has that M-bar. Not sure if there's much ammo left, mind you, but there he is on our screen once again. And here, Obey see themselves behind again, forced to break that B hill. Can they get it down out of this, though?
They've utilized the smokes really well over towards this B side quite a few times now, and they will manage to just about hold this one down.
And of course, with that blizzard coming in, perfect time to get a break on the hill there. As they do actually start trying to cap that up to Obey. Use fine. You can see the rotation coming through now. The three do spot Saki on his own inside. Saki not able to do much from there or get away. The reaction from Obey is to push over towards B, and they're not going to find kills, and so EU's Finest, using their numbers, they can just start flying at the enemy's home hill now and whittle away at those deaths.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is EU's Finest just so good at picking off single members. They just hunt in packs, and now Breaker, left all alone momentarily, he'll do very well to find anything out of this. He's going to find one, actually. Will wait on his teammate coming back up, so Breaker's done very well to survive. And I tell you what, if you use Finest, you're running with your tail between your legs. Breaker is still going right now, and suddenly it is actually only Crazed and Hydro left up. Crazed has to back on down. They didn't actually go to get their home hill yet. They want to find this kill onto Crazed here. If they can, they do so. Hydro is up with that Ember, who will put a meaty shot into Breaker. But the damage is already done. B should go over towards Obey Alliance. There is a potential domination going to come through here. They're going to have to back on down. Swarm will still win this game within 40 if they can keep EU's Finest off. The respawns are coming thick and fast here, though, Toby. It should be EU's Finest to get a hold of C, but Obey are just about keeping them off for now.
Oh, a little bit of an overextension as well, it seems, from EU's Finest down at A. Who is this? It's Phelpsy, the man with the plan. Overextending, only single digits left of seconds needed to finish this one off. And you'd expect EU's Finest to actually hold both here. C-Hill broken. Phelpsy down to him. He's going to be all on his own. Does get taken out. 3 seconds to go, but it doesn't matter as Obey do break hills. Check the C-Hill, though. Unfortunately, Craze, the man with the plan as well, on his home hill, using his skill to see the round out.
Yeah, nicely done by EU's Finest there. Honestly, I really liked it from Obey, though. I liked the aggression. They did the right thing. They knew what they needed to do. They were well down there. They knew they needed to get the domination coming through. They attempted it, but it's just a split of resources from EU's Finest to say, right, just keep them from getting the domination coming in. They do that. They extend Phelpsy over towards the other side because they know all of Obey are concentrating on keeping EU's Finest off C, and then they just go capture A. It's pretty simple, but here we go. We have now seen a change in the map. F, E, and D now coming through, of course. The home hill's moving, as does the middle hill.
Second half after 4 rounds then.
That's not far off from Crazed, and that's a...
2 members down as well for Obey. Yeah. And they're going to be looking to capture that E-hill. That's very important, actually, kills on the second half in particular. Not only do you get map control, but you also get the E-hill in the second half. The Crazed, incredible sniper, is just going to be using that Ember as a big determinant of suppressive fire from Obey on their Lancers on that cover.
So Obey now look like they're making the rotation down low, trying to decide which way to go. And the problem is here, they've lost control of the mid-map. They know they have an M-bar to run into as well. So Obey in a really tough spot here. In terms of grenades, we do see them on Sakia and Warrior Guns. So I imagine they'll start coming through pretty shortly. They want to just try and maybe lure out some shots here of this M-bar, but not be caught at the same time. The crossfire starting to come through there as well. Crazed is going to pepper some shots in, but it does look like Obey Alliance have got control of trading post momentarily. Demonic trying to bait something out, but the rest of his team can't quite win there. Gunfights has to back on down. Just trying to pop off some shots here. TJ's in a really bad spot. Demonic not in the best spot to even help him, to be honest with you.
He does need to, though, if he wants to keep TJ alive. Is he going to try and attempt, or is he going to leave TJ? He doesn't know. He's just trying... I mean, he's trying to keep his presence very much known, but I think he's just going to play it safe and wait for his teammates here. Play his life. TJ will get taken out eventually. But as it stands, Tunnel, top left, points again, EU's finest way. They have map control, Obey. They need to get these plays going. They need to get these kills, wait for their teammates to respawn, and have one final push.
And the thing is now, first to 5, they're getting tantalizingly close to being on map point here, EU's finest. And if you're Obey Alliance, you really need to start getting some rounds on the board here. They are going to find a couple of kills. Is that going to be enough? As a couple of drops do come through, they should be able to get rid of Phelpsy fairly quickly. They do so. They will capture E, but still, they'll need to keep pushing. They need to get a hold of D here as well. Crimson's has the defensive work to do. Can he manage to find anything here? Is just going to back on down, and just surviving would be enough Crimson's. He does that, and we'll wait for the rest of his team coming up, but they are going to go for the decap here. They will get the decap. They will actually capture D as well. Crimson's is going to be dropped, but will be picked up by Hydron. Here comes the push in from Trading Post side. Hydron and Co. trying to get something done. One will come in their favor. The Warrior Guns goes down also, but Breaker is then answered back. TJ, can he repeat the heroics about last week? Not quite, as he's wiped out fairly quickly, as are the rest of Obey Alliance. Cog will eliminate here for EU's finest. Obey, once again, they have to get aggressive because they've allowed themselves to be so far behind, and they get punished for it.
It's like deja vu. EU's finest keep having convincing initials, and they use that advantage to snowball that into points. Then you have Obey trying to react once they get all their players up, and it just seems like one last-ditch effort to push. Meanwhile, EU's finest, we know how good they are as individuals, but once again, that round does show it all. No pressure at all. Obey might be knocking down your home hill, your spawn. You might not have no caps despite being so close, but they take their time, wait for everyone to get their respective kills, move in as a team, get the flashbangs going, and see the round out comfortably.
Disable's now placed on both home hill weapons, so no Topo, no Embar here this time round. So now those disables, Toby, they're only for 1 round previously, and the last iteration of Escalation, it was 3 whole rounds. So now we're back down to the core mechanics, if you like, and this time around, Obey Alliance have sent absolutely everybody towards the trading post now. They will get control of that. They won't get control of E. The damage may have been done here. There is at least 1 drop there, but Hydrona has went down as well on the side of EU's finest. So home hills on both sides of things. Obey Alliance are the ones with a little bit more real estate here.
Oh, Phelpsy flying through out of nowhere. Warrior says no, whacks him back. And now Obey actually starting to pick up kills. Can Warrior stay alive? Yes, he can. A 2-piece again from them. And this is Obey's chance to really get this round off to a solid start. Played it aggressively for the first time, Chris. Gets E-Hill control, already overextending. But they need to find this one player. Is Saki going to take his time? No, he's not. Perhaps wait for your teammates next time to prevent Hydron running out the back to prevent this domination. Can he get over? Yes, he can. Just about in time. And honestly, I thought Obey should have been able to take out Hydron there with a bit of patience.
It was one of those, though, wasn't it? They probably don't know where he is, and he just buys time. There's a real heads-up player coming out of Hydron, though, to make that push over towards the Obey Alliance home hill. The fact that he's done that and not went back to try and prevent the domination is what's probably kept them in this round and maybe put them in a position to win it. D now will be recaptured by Obey, but for all that was looking so positive, that one little kill that came in from a Hydron allowed Obey Alliance to be pushed back once again. EU's finest come through. They sweep through Obey Alliance as well. And they will now have 2 hills to their name. They will catch up to Obey's very slight lead very quickly, Yep,
this is the difference, isn't it? Obey, they get the advantage and they lose it very quickly, and EU's finest all of a sudden have map control. Warrior Guns, meanwhile, he's picked up Phelpsy. Check this, over on the F hill, he's going to get a break. It's going to force Jackfax to look back. Will Obey actually apply the pressure over E hill now, using their numbers? You see Saki, very aggressive, perhaps the most aggressive player in this Pro League. Does push up with Christ. Yeah, statistically as well. And it looks like EU's finest, they still have numbers over E hill. Unfortunately, Obey once again split up, and you need all your numbers as going in on these team fights, and unfortunately they've split up on 2 different objectives here, it seems, and now, like a Hydron, he's already overextending.
It always feels like, even when EU's finest don't have control, they always seem to have the numbers in these fights, don't they? Every single time it's Obey Alliance being pinned back, EU's finest looking to seal the deal here. The domination may come through. It has to be a big play out of Obey. They will find Hydron, and EU's finest will just take that one on the chin and back on down. Look at the push coming through there here, though. Jackfax has to be careful. He will back up. And again, just needs to play his life here. Doesn't need to do anything crazy. Doesn't need to go in and try and find all the kills. He will find 1, though. Nicely done on a Demonic, I think. As he goes down, TJ at the back here is just in no man's land. All on his own. Has to push a right-hand side cover as well. I'll tell you what, Jack hasn't landed the shot, though, so chance for TJ this time round. He'll do well to get out of this one. TJ will go down. This should be a COG team win. Obey Alliance now. The 2-cap will not be enough. They need to push for the 3, and they can hardly do that when they only have 3 members on the field, so to speak. Breaker trying to get something done. He will find one, isn't going to find a second. That should be the round out. Over towards EU's Finest. They will get E. This one will be done in a couple of seconds, and this should be the map now, unless something crazy can happen from Obey. Not going to happen. EU's Finest. First map on the board here in this series, and it's fairly convincing, it has to be said, Toby.
It is. I mean, I was expecting some extravagant strats out of either of these two teams on Icebound, but it felt like it was more of the same, just minus the drop shot spam.
Yeah.
Really, realistically speaking, there wasn't anything too special. I mean, just looking at the scoreboard very quickly there, EU's Finest, they have the slaying power. They constantly have the manpower when it matters most, and I just feel like they were just taking advantage of Obey's mistakes. A lot of the time, EU's Finest, they have the advantage at the start of rounds, and Obey allowed them to carry that out to the end of the round.
And I'm thinking with this new meta, with the new escalation, it's going to make it a little bit harder for these teams who can't win these big initial gunfights. EU's Finest are fantastic at these gunfights. They know where to put their resources at the right time. The out for some of these other teams was the fact that they had this drop shot or had this boom shot. Now they don't have that possible out. It's making EU's Finest look better. And yes, okay, that's maybe based off one map, but so far so good for EU's Finest on the new patch here. That's 1-0 for them. Very convincing. I would say as convincing as we've seen from EU's Finest in the Pro League so far, in all honesty. I mean, I was going to say it wasn't a pace thing, but it was comfortable. It was really comfortable. There's a couple of rounds that come down to, a few gunfights here and there, but you never really felt like EU's Finest weren't going to win it.
No. I mean, one round difference could have been a 5-0, and it would look much different on paper in that sense, wouldn't it? I mean, I have to agree with you. I guess Gears of War now is perhaps a bit more purist. You don't have those variables going in like drop shots and boom shots off spawn, so you will see the stronger shotgunners perhaps having a field day on these all-important initials. And I think this is actually a strength, this update for EU's Finest in general, globally speaking as well. Yeah. They'll be looking at top teams like NRG and REC, and perhaps they'll be happy about this. They like their initials. They've had plenty of incredible performances on the pro circuit on Gears 4 against some of the top players, a lot of the time due to their shotgun ability and their ability to win team fights. So, very good for EU's Finest here. Yeah. Not too surprised at their performance, and I think in terms of the update, they're very happy with what they've got in front of them.
Yeah, and I think for me, we discussed it the other day, didn't we? We said, do we feel like this change coming through, it doesn't make it as reliant on these big power weapons coming through. It doesn't make us reliant on these big players coming through, which EU's Finest were fantastic at. Don't get me wrong, they were very efficient with all of their power weapons to a point. However, now that they're not a factor so much. Yes, they are still a factor. There's still the potential for a tugboat. There's still the potential for the M-bars. There's still obviously potential for mid-drops, of course. But they aren't as prevalent now at all because of, the shorter game length, of course. The fact that you can't drop the boom shot and the drop shot at your home hills, it just makes it lean further towards the core gameplay, it feels. Based on one map we've seen, based on what we've seen last night as well. And plus, we've got very much quicker maps while that was over really quick.
I think even if it was 1st to 7, we would have seen more of the same. I don't think a weapon placement would have come in on the last 2 rounds there to make to change things up too much. And so shout out to the update again, I guess, in that sense, as we do keep it a bit more intense throughout. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing, right? EU's Finest at the start of that map had such convincing initials that you really do feel as though now it's 1st to 5 that those rounds matter the most. If we had it 1st to 7 here, Obey could have had more rounds to actually clock on. Wait, they're outstratting us here. We need to change things.
Like in previous version, when it was 1st to 7, you could go 3-0 down and still be like, it's okay.
4 rounds left.
Yeah, we got so many rounds, but realistically, now you go 3-0 down, or 3-1, or 4-1. You're staring down the barrel. You need to get things around pretty quickly, and I think maybe a part of it could be for Obey Alliance is that yes, this only really came out a few days ago now, not even a week ago. About a week ago. I think it was last Wednesday or so. So I think, it hasn't really it hasn't been out for too long. you can sort of say to them, right, okay, well, have they just maybe not adapted as quick as they would have liked, or adapted as quick as EU's Finest did? There could be potential reasons as to why they lose that in that fashion, but let's see how they did lose it. It was 5-1. Let's have a look at the rest of the maps as well. Icebound going over towards EU's Finest. We really said that if Obey want a chance in this series, we think they need to win this map. As we now head over towards Bunker, EU's Finest really dealt with Obey last time these two played this map against each other, and based on what we've seen in map number 1, it wouldn't surprise me if we see a very similar result, Toby.
Obey need to start off stronger. I mean, it was business as usual for EU's Finest. They didn't do anything crazy, right? Nothing too fancy. It was just basic rotations and just winning your team fights. Obey, keep your heads up at this point. I've mentioned it before, Obey. They've looked lackluster at times when they've had tough games like these and had, a bit of a thrashing on the first map, if you will. And now Bunker, yes, EU's Finest have performed very well against them in the past, but, it's a map that Obey have also had some good times, some good experiences on against other teams. So, my advice to Obey at this point is keep your heads up held high, get in those all-important team fights in a confident manner, and keep together. Don't let EU's Finest to snowball. Allow them to get this numbers advantage and snowball that into caps and points. Just have reliance on your individual ability and stay strong.
Well, we have now loaded into Bunker. Obey Alliance against EU's Finest. I said this is an EU's Finest pick. They win the last map in devastating fashion as well. Can they get things done? Demonic getting very aggressive towards the middle of the map here. Phelpsy is not going to be taken down. His teammate there to help him out. Maybe a misstep by Warrior Guns. Saki Demonic getting it done though. Phelpsy now in a bad spot. Trying to get the shots in. Will back down. Will not get away. And they will win the initial gunfights up top. And at the same time as well, they have control of B. So a good start by Obey Alliance here. And, there's one more point I wanted to point on while we watch Craze try and win a gunfight here. Currently the KD leader in Europe. He's going to win that nicely done against Saki as well. Catches him out. But it feels like EU's Finest are one of these teams who, they're not reactive, they're proactive. They always seem to know what's going to come next from certain teams. They seem to feel as if other teams are predictable. That's the way it looks like they play. Sometimes you see teams maybe over-rely on waiting on what the enemy team are doing, whereas it feels like EU's Finest are already got a plan of what they're doing because they know what the other team are doing. I said they are more proactive than reactive, where sometimes if you get sat into that reactive state, you are the one having to answer the questions, whereas EU's Finest are the ones constantly asking the question of you of, well, what are you going to do against us now? We already know. This is what we're going to do if you do this. They already have a set out plan, and I think that's what makes them so good.
Yeah, individually they're so smart as well that you can just rely on these individuals to pull off the plays when that sometimes doesn't work, to stop the opposing team really pushing up on them. And you see this here actually, Obey, they're being really aggressive, not put too much damage in. Finally Hydron does get taken down, and now Obey, they've got that snappiness that I like to see them play with. On the initial they have that, they got some great kills, Craze of course winning the last team fight there, but Obey, they've had a nice little break here, comfortable on over at B. Meanwhile, Saki does get down. Crazed. Is he aware of a player standing right in front? Yes, he is. He's seen his head. Breaker does need to put some shots in, but instead he's going to try and run away, reset, wait for his team. But as it stands, EU's Finest will just simply go wide on Breaker. They don't have the B hill, and I think they'll be looking to abuse his numbers advantage and assert themselves elsewhere on the map.
Well, A is going over towards them as well, so if you Obey Alliance, you really start to have to win these gunfights, especially in mid. You'll lose your home hill here as well. Demonic trying to get something done. EU's Finest though in a bad spot, as Obey actually managed to get a hold of C and A, get it back pretty quickly. We did see the overextension come through. Hasn't quite paid off yet. There should be a COG team win condition, although it won't be in a second. That will swap over now towards the Swarm side as EU's Finest get a hold of two different hills. One will not be enough here for Obey. Oh, gunfight going over towards Breaker though. He will find Hydro and a push over towards B is what needs to come through. Flash is going to be there as well, so Phelpsy's going to be pushed back. They need to get a hold of B. The gunfights, which way they're going to go. Phelpsy goes down. Potential for Obey Alliance to try to come back into this one. Will 2 be enough here, though? I'm wondering. Breaker, though, trying to get things done all on his own. It still should be a swarm win condition, even if B goes over towards him. But Saki is there. These decaps are going to matter.
Yes, he has. But look at C. We have the overextension again from EU's Finest. COG team, 3 seconds.
Is it going to be enough,
though? Will come through. Oh, Obey do get the round. That was a nail biter again.
Wow, that's a 1-point round, and Obey Alliance get it done. And that literally comes down to the fact that they captured that last point maybe just a little bit slower. So the overextension comes through, but it's not quite enough. Obey Alliance get it done 250 to 249 in round number 1, and that might give them some confidence. Could that be that wave of momentum that they need to get back into this game?
That's certainly
a big round. Big round.
Yeah, that's spanning the works for the EU's finest steam train coming from the last map of Icebound. And that'll certainly be a very good thing for Obey going forward. And, I was about to say, EU's finest going to have a simple overextension now. They'll defend this, but now Obey finally are able to catch a round that they're so close to winning and find the victory. In terms of weapon placement, not too much difference there. Flashbang and smokes. And what I want to see actually is, yes, again, Obey being aggressive, get close and personal. They were close in the team fight last time to be victorious, but EU's finest are having a great start to this one.
Hydron will find 2. It's very, very easy. Like a knife through butter there, EU's finest. They will push TJ away as well, so they will get a hold of B. Although the initial did go over towards Obey, so EU's finest will have to decap that one, but Saki now in a dangerous spot. Needs to win this gunfight if he can. Nice snap by Phelpsy, though. Will pick him up and try and keep Warrior Guns off too. They should be able to get in. They do get in, but are they going to lose casualties on the way? Flash comes through. That's going to disorientate Phelpsy at least anyway. Wanning is going to get a great kill onto him, though, and will continue his tear inside. Will they be able to push them away? Jack, Vex, and Cole here still getting aggressive. Crazed is going to find one. Can he find the second as well? Jack is yet to help. The domination going to come through in a second. If they're not careful, it will come through, and they just keep applying the pressure. And for all that, Obey Alliance win a long, drawn-out round in round number 1. EU's finest get it done within a minute yet in round number 2.
Yep, not too surprised, and they went for the domination there. Chris, as Jack Vex was having an excellent start to his campaign in that round, getting kill after kill. And the clean sweep usually does mean an aggressive EU's finest in your spawn, Gears 4 and Gears 5 included. EU's finest answer back very quickly, and, I've heard you say this before, Obey, Chris, rather. And it's something that Obey should be thinking about. If your game isn't working, then change it up. Play it differently.
Drop it in the middle.
Drop it in the middle. Instead, it's pretty predictable, actually. The weapon placement marks you again for Obey. Retro, meanwhile, for EU's finest. So we won't see things playing too differently here. Expect a big team fight, though, up top over at that bunker.
Did we see much retros last night? I didn't manage to catch too much of the broadcast.
I mean, nothing more than usual from what I saw, Chris, but question is, will that be more impactful than a Markser? I mean, a Markser can keep heads down, as Saki is showing here. The aggressive
certainly hear it, though.
This passive weapon. Meanwhile, look at this capture. Nice little start from Obey. They've got B Hill, and they've got the covers to defend it. EU's fans, though, they've stacked up hard. Perhaps they might go and make plays here on TJ very soon.
And the thing is here, though, is Obey Alliance are getting a hold of B every single time, to be honest with you, but they just can't keep it for more than like 30 seconds.
They can't stay alive, that's the issue. EU's fires, they seem to be able to snap their fingers and get kills. And now, EU's fires, I think they're looking for exactly that. Jack Vex hiding down here. He's looking for Saki. Saki's ran early. I like that, but will he stay alive? No, he will not. That's the marks are out of play. The Monarch's going to be panicking, flying back to defend his teammate and his home hill, but EU's finest, they have numbers advantage here. They'll probably be looking for the B hill very soon too.
Yeah, they'll probably rotate through mid-map back over towards the B hill, while at least decap and C. They'll actually go for the full capture and then probably make the push, but here comes Warrior Guns to try and help his team keep a hold of the only objective they currently have. I can imagine they'll be able to get C off the break if they can just stay alive at B, to be honest with you. Play your life here as best you can. Shot's going to come through. Warrior Guns backing on down. Very, very red. Crazed now. Can he get anything done here? He's in a bit of a no man's land. They will have to back on down. Craze should be dropped. He is in the end. Crimson's is there to answer back, though. Can he find anything more than one? Saki will take him down. Can they quite get this done, though? Hydron is there to cause problems. Can these gunfights go over towards Obey Alliance? They do so in the end. It's a push over towards A fairly quickly. We can see Jack Vex and Co are sitting up top, but to be honest, it's not a good position to be in. If the push comes through from Saki, shot's going to come through from Crazed, and that might just be enough, but he has decapped, so nicely done. Not going to be able to win the second gunfight, though. Crazed pushes out, punishes him.
They've committed so much numbers here. Obey in that fight over at B that EU's fans have been sitting on this home hill for so long. Finally, though, Obey, they regroup, they get back the home hill. Meanwhile, they've kept control of B, so, you know, this is looking pretty good for Obey. They've kept their lives, and now EU's fans will have to answer back. Crimson's already looking for that push. Demonic is there as well. They're going to have to try and outnumber Crimson's if they can, but they're not going to be able to do it in time as Craze is here with a retro. This is a big team fight, Chris, coming up.
Huge team fight. Crimson's Co trying to set up. They have decapped it, but it will not be enough. They need to make this push pretty quickly here. EU's Finest. The shot's coming through. Obey back on down. I think they probably know that they can do it in one.
This
Let's have a look.
Is nice from Obey.
The win condition goes still over towards Obey Alliance, but they need to find these gunfights on the way over. There's still time for EU's Finest to push through, but the crossfire comes around. Craze is going to be dropped. That should be a Jackvex is down. There should be another round over towards Obey Alliance, and that's nicely played. They know where to concentrate their resources this time round. They back on down and say, right, we can turtle up here. Come at us. Let's see if you can get anything done. Not quite going to happen. 4 EU's Finest is still behind here. Obey Alliance 2-1 to the good.
Best round yet from Obey. Very
100%.
happy with them. And, you know, the fact that they were able to contain B Hill and then regain their home hill after making such a big forceful push across the map using so many numbers is exceptional.
All right, so that's a long shot placed in the middle by
Right up
Obey.
top as well, meanwhile, Chris.
Yeah.
So there is actually a valid strategy potential here for both teams. Will they be using their numbers to throw themselves up there and get hold of Turbo? Turbo does pop up. Sniper is up top. So you'll expect a lot more numbers to be placed this way. The question is, are you going to go for the quick cap on B using smokes, or are you going to go for the power weapons and map control? That's what I'm going to see now.
What I will say here from EU's Finest, that this works out for them, because I feel as if Obey Alliance have, you know, they put a lot of investment here on the B side, but now it's all about these gunfights up top. I said the lives will reset after this round. Patch must have came through. I didn't see
Quick pick. Love it. You took cover as well while picking that one up. Phelpsy not able to do anything to prevent him from doing that, as Obey did have numbers. Meanwhile, they've got B Hill control. This is nice. If we swap the team names around, you'd think, EU's Finest, no surprise there. They get the power weapons and B Hill control. But no, it's Obey that lead the pace. Meanwhile, Hydra able to sneak away the torp by that, Chris.
What I will say is that I would personally prefer the torp bow in my hands than the long shot at this point. Although Demonic, let's see what he can get done with it. Notoriously pretty powerful in this game. It's one of those, though, where the Marks era has been so strong this year that it's really put the long shot down a little bit.
This is the thing, though, Chris. From this position, Demonic can keep an eye on up top, most importantly, as well. So he can keep heads down and that torp bow head down. So he's right. They need to be aggressive in order to stop this. The pulling of the torp bow to try and pressure Demonic there. But unfortunately, TJ perhaps a little bit too far up. Not in cohesion with his teammates was his positioning then, and it was just a simple take for EU's Finest without much pressure.
Yeah, it's easy done. That's the thing. Is it enough of a threat from Demonic to not make this push on towards that middle hill? It's an interesting one. They really just walked through very, very easily, and now they'll have to make the push back up top, try and get control here, and then make the movement from lining it up. Demonic, can he find anything? And that will be onto the Torpo player as well if he can find it. Whispers past. Another shot going to go through. Only one left in the chamber on the long shot here. Can he find Craze? Doesn't find anything. And his teammates dropped. For all that, Demonic managed to get a hold of that fairly quickly. He's not been able to do anything with it. Having a bit more luck with his Nasher, though. He's going to find one, but is going to be dropped and eventually taken down. So EU's Finest, they soak up the pressure. They rotate where they need to. They have control of C and B right now, and they're at a good spot to win this round. Excellent
from EU's Finest from the moment they took that kill on TJ on the B hill. They broke control. Every player was forced to rotate from Obey. 4 players, power weapon included up top to try and look for that home street control. But no, it is not to be. Phelpsy actually getting control of Sniper now, the newly respawned one that is. He's up top and he's got a nice little sight line down on the B hill.
And that's the thing. This is such a good spot to be in, because even if you do lose B, you have a good cover over towards it, but the path to A is so fast. But what can they get done here? The rest of EU's Finest doing the job over towards B. Seemingly Saki going to go down. It's up to Warrior Guns. He's going to drop 2. This should be 2-2 now, as B does go over towards EU's Finest. It's going to have to be an overextension somewhere, you feel, but Demonic trying to get that. He will capture seats. Big gunfight. He's going to get the shots onto Craze, but not quite enough. Swarm victory comes on through. EU's Finest make it 2-2 now.
Yep. Good round from EU's Finest. Good little response there from the rotations of Obey. But unfortunately, one mistake led to another, and it was quite comfortable for EU's Finest in the end, as they show they can really manage their resources and rotations for the entirety of that round. As we go into the next half, though, a little bit different to Icebound due to the number of power weapons here.
I didn't even see what was placed there. Did they just half something?
Yeah, no, it was the second half. And so we're going to have Sniper, Talkbow, Map Control, and the E-Hill here, all in one area. And this can be such a big standoff, this area. I'm panning over now with the camera, that you can see some passive play, or you can see some really all-in, guns blazing attempts to try and take control of the whole map. Hydra now. He could be the playmaker here, pushing this man just on the side. He could go for a cheeky flank. Meanwhile, actually, Phelpsy, making the play for Sniper. I'm actually going to headshot before I can even get to his camera. Looking for Warrior. Not going to find him, but most importantly, Chris, they have the numbers advantage now. They'll be looking to perhaps be aggressive in this situation.
We didn't see anything done last time round by Obey Alliance with this long shot. And this time round, Phelpsy will get a hold of that and will be able to get the kill fairly easily. Can he find one over towards the side as well? Saki is dropped. That's helped his teammate out. And he's just being a lot more efficient, even if he's not getting headshots. Helping them come in with the down there just makes things so much easier. They have pressure over down low. They have pressure up top. They have the hill up top as well. Long shot still available, a couple of bullets left as well. Warrior Guns does have that Markser though, but everything else really going in EU's finest favour now as they make the push over towards the F-Hill. There should be a domination coming through unless Obey Alliance can get off the spawn. It seems like they will do. Crimsons and Hydro will go down, as will Jack Vex. So there you go, the overextension coming through, not really getting a lot done. The crucial thing for them there though, they got the decap on F, so at least if you're Obey Alliance, you have to send somebody back to keep a hold of that.
Yep.
Another kill coming through though. Crazed is going to find Saki.
Talkbow and Sniper now.
Talkbow, that was a Talkbow headshot, I think.
Duo. Yeah, it was. Craze actually getting a shotgun kill as well, so they're keeping up the pressure. They didn't have many alive, but EU's finest are in a very comfortable position now as their respawns will come in.
Big gunfight
Craze,
here.
Phelpsy, great damage on TJ, keeping those distance. Perfect. No reason for Phelpsy to bounce into any covers and risk his life. And, you know, control will be maintained for EU's finest, safe to say. Crimson's coming off spawn, no hills for Obey, and, you know, if you're EU's finest now, you don't need to hurry up, you don't need to start running to different areas of the map. Play it slow and control these power weapons as they respawn.
Another shot going to come through, and that's 2 out of 2 for Crazed. Saki going down. And it's just well played by EU's finest. You know, honestly, the efficiency has really been there from them with these power weapons, and now Obey are in a spot where they need to find multiple kills to get back into this round. Can they find them? Warrior Guns are going to get pushed away, and just again, it's that respective distance. If EU's finest, they're so good at it. Here comes the long shot once again. The shot comes through, not quite landing on the head from Phelpsy, but it's enough to put damage down, which will help his teammates out on the other side of the map as well. Phelpsy trying to get something done here with the help of his teammate up top. Demonic is going to take a bullet though, and all the kills going over towards EU's finest. Crazed finding a couple on his home hill. That's 3-2. This is more like it from them. 2 in a row from EU's finest. 3-2 up now.
And you can see the differential there with a sniper, the contrast, if you will, between the two teams. Phelpsy constantly tapping his LT in the general direction of players, keeping their heads down, keeping that pressure up. And it's a lot different to what we saw from Demonic, of course, sitting right back in a very safe position with great vantage point, but not really preventing any pushes or making much effect. And as it stands, 3-2, it's a good little scoreline for Obey. You know, they're not out of this just yet, and they're very close to the top team here in Europe. And yeah, it will be a similar placement actually. Boltox for EU's finest. We saw some great usage actually out of Explosive in the NA side of things last night on this particular map. One-shot headshot at close range, and it can really put the dampener on pushes in this area up top.
Let's see how EU's finest use this. Crane's now with the Boltox, looking towards the pitch, and Demonic is going to find a kill at Hydron. They are going to give up the long shot. TJ will down Phelpsy, but that will be it. They're in a good spot here. They're further pushed up. Demonic could be the guy, though, that does really just break them open. Saying that, though, a couple of kills not quite going in the favour of EU's finest, but the drops coming through. Craze drops Breaker once again. Demonic is there to pick up the pieces. He should go over towards EU's finest now, though, who have found the kills. Yeah, but he's right. He's just trying to find the angles.
They're trapped
on Breaker and co. They're in such a bad spot. Crimson's, though, is going to make the push from down low as Breaker and Demonic both go down. And it's just a fantastic, it's like a pincer, isn't it? You know, they just get their angles, well worked as a team. They break them.
What's so nice about that, though,
it's just
Chris,
so easily done for EU's finest, isn't it? They just make it look easy every time.
Yeah, what's so nice is that Phelpsy, he had the sniper the whole time, and he just went so wide, kept distance from that choke point, as did Crimson's. but most importantly, making sure they can stay alive no matter what happens in that scenario. And now we see the result of this successful initial again. Use Finest their map control, Talkbow and Snipe at this perch here, looking over the rest of Bunker, and Phelps, you can just literally sightline pretty much into the enemy spawn over towards that D hill, and it's not a comfortable position for Obey. I mean, look at Phelps, he's essentially a scout at this point, counting how many players will be looking to make plays on which side of the map.
Well, Phelpsy, let's see. Can you light this round up for your team? And have a look around it. You said, you know, he's just gathering information. That's all he needs to do. His team literally hold all the cards in this round, and they're about to put themselves a round away from winning it. If they can hold on here. Here comes the flash. That's going to force Phelpsy back, but we just put him probably in a better position with this long shot. Have to be careful, Breaker. He was weighing it up, but the shot's coming through. I'm just going to put him off. Crimson's going to find two, though, here with the Talkbow. A little bit too close to each other there, boys. And will be punished for it. The overextension looks like it's going to come in, but look, it's what we already talk about. It's not so much reactive, they're proactive. They already know it's coming through. If you use Finest, he sends you back to defend against TJ. Crimson's get to hold the long shot up top as well. This is perfect from EU's Finest. Nothing going to be made of this push out of Obey Alliance. They get shut down every single time. 4-2 now to EU's Finest. Looking very solid here till we 1 round away.
Excellent, excellent from EU's Finest. Honestly, I can't think of a more difficult scenario for the opposing team on Bunker when you have the likes of Crimsons and Phelpsy with Talkbow and Sniper, respectively. It is really tough. So open is this map. So crucial is up top control and that height advantage. That even on the information basis, as Phelpsy demonstrated, you can read every rotation before they're even made at this point. And, you know, business as usual for EU's Finest. They're not making mistakes. This is the clear-cut king of Europe that we like to see on our screens. And for Obey, what are they going to do weapon placement-wise? It's a disable of the Talkbow. Not too surprising. You know, it's been devastating, as just mentioned. The two power weapons there. Yeah. But Obey, the fact remains they need to win this initial. They can't let EU's Finest to get control of this up top area again. If you're going to change strat, this is the time to do it, Chris, and I'd like to see numbers actually on this side of the map now being thrown at them.
Yeah, they really, if anything, just need to shut down EU's Finest on the side of the long shot. They're getting a hold of it. They may not be finding too many kills, but they're finding enough to make it an issue. And it has to be said, it's really not helping Obey Alliance's case yet. They may have not done a lot with the long shot last time round, but that won't worry them too much if they can just get it out of the hands of EU's Finest. But because they've had so much success up top from EU's Finest, they know that a lot of resources are going to be sent over towards this side of the map if you are Obey Alliance. So,
and look at this from Hydra. He's always positioned himself far onto this cover here in the middle. Yes, you might be able to get cross from the backside of E if you do lose that, but you also have quicker access. And Breaker, he's always the passive player on right hand here, sitting back Hydra and waiting for that push. And honestly, I like to see Hydra in his position. He's always the one, perhaps the best icebreaker of EU's Finest, typically on an international basis here in the pro circuit. Here it is, the rotation. You saw that he's thrown himself one side, and the quick rotation from Phelpsy, the switcheroo, if you will. Flanks Breaker, a 2v1 now against Saki as Hydra is back here to help out. 3v1, and EU's Finest, they're doing the magic. Obey, though, they still need to make plays, actually. I'm surprised. I thought they'd be flying after losing players, but no, they're going to be sitting back, and EU's Finest, they'll just have their way.
Yeah, I think they're waiting for this push come around from behind. It does come through, but then that allows the rest of EU's Finest to push up through the middle. The Swarm Domination's going to come in here if Breaker can do something about it, though. Here we are. He is going to be able to get a hold of F, but E is gone, and it's just all part of the master plan, isn't it, for EU's Finest? It's like, yeah, okay, we can overextend here, send the resources over, make sure Obey Alliance have to watch their 6. Everybody else then pushes up through the bunker side, and then they get a control. It's just so easily done. They make it look easy, but teams can hardly predict it. They just really don't understand which way the EU's Finest are going to come from, and ultimately, now, Obey Alliance in such a tough spot. They're pinned back here. Look at the power weapons that are available for EU's Finest. They have at least the Retro Lancer and the long shot here. Of course, the Talkbow did get disabled this round, so thankfully for Obey Alliance, they did disable that, or they'd be in an even worse spot here, Toby.
Yeah, honestly, in that round, that initial at the start here, Obey, they weren't playing to win, they were playing to not lose, if you will, and EU's Finest, that's the difference. They were playing to win. They get aggressive, here's the reward. But Obey, they're trying to react here. They've got the numbers, they're throwing themselves up top. Nice flashbangs to force the players off now, but can they see it out? Hydron is in the back, causing a lot of issues. in terms of damage, but Crazy and Crimson's there having their way. Craze have a double. 9 seconds to win, and it looks like it'll be clear-cut for EU's Finest. Nice little body check there to get Jack Fex down, and the E-Hilt will remain in control. Nicely done, EU's Finest. Business as usual, I'd summarise that. 4 rounds in a row to finish that one off.
Yeah, very nicely done by EU's Finest. They will take this series 2-0 in devastating fashion, in all honesty. I thought Obey Alliance would maybe have a little bit more for them, in all honesty, but EU's Finest, this update just seems to absolutely sit them down to the ground. They don't have to contest against these boom shots and drop shots all the time. They now have to fight for these in the middle of the map. Yeah. And you know what? They're absolutely fine at doing that. And we knew if it was going to come down to the fact that it did bring it back to a bit more core Gears of War, we knew EU's Finest were going to be a team who would cause issues, and they have done here. I mean, that is as strong as we've seen them look so far in the Pro League. Let's look at how this one went down. Obviously, we went over to Icebound firstly. It was 5-1. Comfortable once again there, Toby.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think the round count does justice in terms of how easy that was for EU's Finest. The bunker, I think, was the stronger map for EU's Finest, if anything, at times, because they were able to pace the game in such a easy fashion. I mean, bunker is such an interesting map because there's risk and reward to every push that you do, because you can just be crossed out, you can be flanked so easily. And as such, that really favours EU's Finest in a way, because they're so good at managing these resources and playing that risk-reward game throughout. You know, safe to say, it was EU's Finest dominating every single round, pretty much once they had their way and had any advantage given to them. I can't really slate Obey as such in terms of what was the reason they lost. It's more so the EU's Finest, they were just on perfect form. I didn't see many mistakes at all. I don't think we called out a single mistake actually for EU's Finest on a team basis. And as such, clearly EU's Finest, they came into this Monday of the Pro League feeling confident and happy and content with the new update.
Yeah, 100%. They're feeling comfortable and looking more like the team we expected at the beginning of the Pro League. We seen them last year look so dominant. That's more like what we seen last year from EU's Finest. Very, very strong from then. We're going to go to a very short break, though. We will be coming back with game number 2. Hopefully, this one lasts a little bit longer. It's going to be R Damage against Rated R just after this quick break.
Break the silence, damn the dark, damn the light. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying it was never break the chain. I can still hear you saying it would never
Ladies and gents, welcome back to the EU Pro League here for Gears 5. My name's Son. I'm here with Toby Campbell, and first game is already done. Don't think you've missed. You actually have missed everything. If you were tuning in thinking, maybe I can get in the third or second map here, no, escalation has changed. It's over in about 3 minutes now. That was a really, really quick game out of EU's finest. I think we're maybe ourselves are adjusting to the 5 rounds. We're like, wow, that was over so fast. But EU's finest, very dominant. A pretty convincing win against Obey Alliance as well, and they'll be really happy with that. But I was having a quick check through Twitter, just a couple of GGs, etc. Nothing too crazy coming out of either team. I think Obey Alliance probably just accepted the fact that EU's finest were a much better team in that game.
100%. I think Obey, just like EU's fans, will be happy that was a first to 5 because every single round played in a very similar fashion. EU's finest, they get an advantage, they get a kill, they get a power weapon, they get map control once, and it just seems like the round is over there and then, right? And, EU's finest, they weren't making any mistakes, and if they're not making mistakes, it is incredibly difficult to beat them. For anyone in the globe, let's be real.
This is more team. Like the EU's finest. I thought we would see this, so I'm really interested to see how they do in San Diego, which is obviously in a couple of weeks' time. Super excited to be watching that one. We'll be at home, I'm sure. We'll be just, hey, we could do like a live changing gear. Mate. We'll think. We'll get back to you on that one. But either way, we've got another game coming here. We do expect this one to be a lot closer. Our damage going up against Rated R. Now, these two teams, last time they met, was a relatively close game. It was 2-0 at our damage, but Rated R have been this team. Even when they lose, they never really look too far behind. In all honesty, they don't make it easy, and they're one of these teams who can steal rounds away. They may be at the bottom of the league, but they're no spring chickens. Let's say they are a very hard team to beat. Will they be hard to beat this time, though? Our damage looked really good against EU's finest last week. However, I think this is an easier task for them. They've already beat them before. Rated R could be in a bad spot. They are in a bad spot, but are they in a bad spot mentally? Are they thinking, this is terrible, we're sitting in the bottom? Or are they going to be going into this game against our damage and saying to themselves, we could potentially win this?
Rated R have beaten our damage before, but as it stands currently, Rated R, they're not doing too well. Our damage, meanwhile, they're getting stronger. Many would argue they're going from strength to strength. And the question is, as you said, is this affecting Rated R mentally? Today they need to make those plays that win them rounds, and they need to play amazing as individuals, but also as a team. And I think they have to hit the ground running. And from this first map, I feel as though they need to take it. Otherwise, our damage will cruise through with how they've been performing recently. In terms of specifics, we know what Rated R play like. They play extremely aggressively. If their shotguns aren't on tonight, you really do hope they are. If they're not on tonight, I don't see them winning. So mentally, it's important that they're there, very much on an individual basis. Okay,
well, let's have a look at the picks and bans to give us a better idea of which way we think this one will swing. Exhibit has gone from Rated R. No surprises there. That Icebound has gone from R damage. Rated R very solid at Icebound. A District picked by R damage, who did beat Rated R on this one last time these two played, but it was a 7-6, so a close one there. Vasgar will be played with these two, so I'll be interested to see how that one plays out with the new changes coming into Escalation. That's one coming in from Rated R. Training Grounds is then gone by Rated R. Bunker gone from our damage, and Asylum is what we'll play last, which is pretty standard. Trying to think towards these picks, have I seen our damage even play Vasgar? I don't think I have. Top of my head, no. Maybe potentially. I'll try and get that confirmed during the series, but I haven't seen them play it as far as I'm aware. So Vasgar coming out. District there as well. This is questionable. I'm not 100% sure where this one goes, because Rated R have had a couple of close maps on Vasgar, but I think they've lost it both times they played it, as far as I'm aware. We'll get the stats up at the beginning of the map, and that'll help me decide whether I'm just completely talking rubbish here. But I think, if you're Rated R here, you maybe pick Vasgar and say, what, we're not bad at Vasgar, we haven't seen our damage play it, let's throw something different in here to see what we can do with it. And all rolled into that is the changes coming in Escalation as well. So bear that in mind. What are we thinking? For me, I am quite happy for Rated R with this pick.
Yeah, I think it's positive for Vasgar. I think if you're our damage, equally so. It's not too crazy, this map pick. It's pretty predictable. Meanwhile, we don't see District often. However, I do feel as though both teams are pretty good at this map from what I've seen.
I said a super close game last time they played.
Exactly, and they've had close games. Vasgar, they've had plenty of practice, have Rated R, and had some really great games individually and as a team. Asylum is perhaps the most common map here in Gears Esports, and that's going to be the finalising factor if we do need it. But no, I mean, it all depends, I guess, how these initials go. To be honest with you, I think Rated R, that's their strength in Gears Esports, and they need to come out swinging. District, it can be an extremely aggressive map if you do position your players accordingly, and I'll be looking towards Bannister and Cinema for Rated R to see if they're being aggressive and making these big pushes, or will our damage be having their way as they have been recently. Good point that you made, though, of course, of Vazkar with the new weapon placements in terms of drop and boom not being close to spawns. Curious to see if a boom or drop is thrown down that center of the map. We know how open it is in Vazkar and how the lanes intersect. That could be a big map decider, even if a team does decide to throw a weapon down there. And, that might actually be a good choice of Rated R. They like it scrappy. They like these hard and fast initials. That could be the secret for them for that second map. Yeah,
I think, we were having a look at the stats beforehand here as well, and one of the things that we sort of were pointing out in this specific matter that has now changed, you've got to play your life a little bit more, and Rated R, where mostly, I think it was 5 of the top 9 most deaths out of the 20 players in the European Pro League. So, I mean, they're all in there. Yes, okay, with them being bottom of the leaderboard, you probably would expect it, but let's see the maps that they actually have to make sure they don't die on so many times. District, Vazkar, and Asylum in that order. Of course, we'll only see Asylum if we are one apiece as we go into that one in a best of 3 format. But yeah, we've been talking about deaths and how you need to really play your life a little bit more. That doesn't play into the Rated R theory of how to play Gears 5, does it? It's more so about hit hard, hit fast, see what you can do. But if they don't win those initials, they're going to really struggle here against our damage.
I mean, that could be a potential criticism, honestly, as Rated R as a team. Yeah, it's a strength of theirs being able to fight on these initials, but other teams have adapted and got more flexible, and even had players like Saki getting in the thick of it and winning those shotgun battles for likes of Obey. You feel as though Rated R might, need to have something a bit hidden up their sleeves at this point to deal with it when they don't have the kills going their way. You said it, 5 of them in the top 9 for deaths total, and so honestly, are Rated R going to turn up just the same and continue to rely on initials and not succeed? Or are they going to come and really prove that they're really top players with these shotguns in Europe and see what they can do here on District? I don't think we've said map count in terms of predictions just yet, Chris.
I'm going to go our damage 2-1.
2-1?
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I'm going to side with my boys in our damage. I'm going to say 2-0.
Okay.
I'm going to side with them. I think it'll be fairly close maps. It honestly depends. It could be anything at this point that could set Rated R off or sink their heads, but they definitely have a lot to prove, Chris. That's the the summary, I guess, of the analysis. Pre-match analysis of Rated R. They have a lot to prove that they aren't out of this Pro League just yet. They're sitting at the bottom. Can't wait to see if they can do just that.
Well, Rated R, the only time they've played this map was against our damage, and they lost that one 7-6, of course. First to 5 this time round, though, and if I remember rightly, Rated R were in a really good spot. They were in the lead the majority of the game as well. It was only our damage who came flying back into it. That changed the course of how that series played out. They won that 2-0 last time round. Can they do the same again? So we think so. I reckon Rated R might push them that one map further, but I think that's as far as it goes. I think Rated R, unfortunately, now in a bad spot. Our damage are getting better as time goes on, and let's see how this one plays out. Nicely done by Strikers straight off the rip there. Sergio, who's been probably the most impressive player on my side of things from Rated R. In all honesty, I think he's been a devastating opponent to go up against. His movement is fantastic. He gets wiped out pretty much straight away. The setup from our damage is solid. They get a hold of C, they get a hold of B, and they have control.
Yep. You can see Strikers following him through this initial now. He's going to cross down on Rated R from blue. Cougar's going to try and sit back, but no, he's not actually going to keep his legs, shall we say. He's down on the floor. The reinforcements come through. Strikers does find kills, and Dragons are still lurking, though. Not sure if
he's dead.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a good decision. Will lead to his death as Cougars and Co. do start to push up on Leonard here. And
yeah, Leonard should be dead here. 1,000,000% should be dead. They will find the shots into him. Already weak. He's going to get taken down. The home hill setup about to come through for our damage. They've lost B, but they actually have. Zokos over there just trying to cause some issues. The domination would come through if they stayed on the floor, but either way, he is going to be found. And I think, if you're Rated R here, you have to make a decision what you're going to do. You're going to go back to your home hill, or try at least go back to your home hill. Looks like the control is coming in from our damage, but they will back on down and probably start to concentrate some of these resources over towards B. They did have a home hill set up, but the rotation will have to come through if they want to get anything done here.
Nice angles from Toast and Sergio there down to the banister, which will open things up just a little bit for rated R. Meanwhile, R damage are being super aggressive. Cougars, he's ran from blue all the way through to green to the enemy's home hill and has a little bit of an angle here on Dragons and Co. on the C hill. So R damage, they can take their time, set up around their own home hill to regain control, but they will have to deal with this player right here in blue hiding out as Reader looks to flank. He's going to have to get a kill here really quickly before our damage start regrouping. Meanwhile, actually, Baghdad, he'll get taken down. Domination does blink for a second, but respawn timer does favour rated R, but points R damage.
R damage looking solid here. After both the home hills, nicely done. Yeah, by Dove, just going to try and get away. Doesn't manage to do that. They get a hold of B fairly easily. Zorkos and Kodo, they'll be happy with this one. They're in a good spot. They are well and truly in the lead here. I think a 1-cap would probably do them here as well.
Yep.
Let's have a look as they are going to capture A here, rated R. Will R damage be able to win? Yes, they will. 50 seconds time is all they need. Cougar's just trying to play his life here. Is going to get taken down. Sergio and Kodo trying to get something done here. Push is going to have to come through over towards C. They nearly decapped that one. Not quite, though. And the kills will go in the favour of R damage. They should be able to win this round. 30 seconds remaining, though, and there is still time for rated R here.
Yep, only Dragons does remain alive here currently for rated R. And he's just going to have to sit on B for the time being. This is a one last big final push. Can Dragons reach C in time, though? He's going to have to go on an epic mission because no other teammate, I don't think, will be able to reach anywhere in time. Will he play for his life? No. He's actually going to keep going, as R damage do take this quite comfortably indeed.
Yeah, it's a comfortable one. You're very right. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It does take the length of the round, if you like, but they will get it done on points. Nicely done by R damage. They just grounded out, in all honesty. I think, you look at the eliminations there, fairly close to a point. It is definitely R damage favoured, but not too far away. So rated R at the races, if you like, but still, R damage, it's just control, isn't it? They just played those home hill spawns.
Yeah,
the home hill points much better. To be honest, they kept flip-flopping between them, just chipping away. Drop shot already placed in round number 2, and that was out of rated R. So, right, they want to play their strengths, which are these initials.
And they're setting it early as well, Chris. This is exactly what you need. You're not liking the home hill battle. Decide very early on, because it's now first to 5. Hey, we want this team fight over at the B hill. And throw the drop shot down to force exactly that. You can see its numbers heavy for both teams. Sergio, that star player for Radar, getting in the thick of it. Oh no, Physics does find strikers though. Sergio will get taken down meanwhile, but it is neck and neck, back and forth. Dragons, nice little pick of the drop shot though, as he's got one left in the chamber.
Yeah, it's going to force Zorkos away, but will get a hold of that drop shot as said. And that should be useful. Helping R damage, rated R get control of the map. They will get control of B, you feel, in a second, and the push is actually going to come over towards the bottom side of the map here. They may actually go for the domination. They're considering it, but they need to send somebody back over towards B to get a hold of that point. They will do. Here comes the drop shot. Cougars is dead. Now here comes the push through over towards A. Strikers is there with the Lancer to try and shove Dragons away. The shotgun fire coming through. It's a big gunfight, though. Strikers just put himself in the firing line here. Is going to have to back off. Plenty of shots put in by Dragons, and they have now forced the issue. You can see the push is actually going to come through the mid-map. It's a big flash coming out of Dragons as well. Pushes through, finds one, can't find the second. The push now coming out of R damage as well, just trying to defend themselves here. Sergio's going to find a couple, as is the rest of the team. This should be the domination coming through for rated R, and that is more like it from them. Not quite able to get B. Called it a little bit early, but eventually it will come through for rated R. And that's all off the back of these initial kills. They get the fight over towards B fairly convincingly. They then rotate this power weapon over quite nicely, shut down the pressure in the mid-map, and can just converge on that home side so quickly. And it's so hard when you're respawning for R damage there. It's such a choke point you got to get through. And the fact that you've lost control of Juice as well, you are Lancered off spawn, essentially. Yeah. So really hard spot to be in. Rated R just pressured all the right areas of the map when they had the advantages and take a comfortable round. Nicely done.
Shout out to Dragons the whole time. Played that flawlessly. Didn't waste any drop shots. And was patient enough for his teammates to regroup. And
you could argue he wasted the first
plays.
one, but he had to do it to force them away.
To keep his life as well.
Just to point out quickly that a shot grenade has been put down for the side of our damage, and on the other side of things is the smoke. So this will make a difference when it comes towards this drop shot push as we now enter it now, and it's going to be a big shot grenade. Probably going to come over in a second here. Strikers trying to get aggressive, but Sergio is there in the corner trying to get something done. He will go down once again. Strikers is up. The shot grenade didn't really find a great deal, but it just zoned off an area where you would want to push if you're rated R. So well done by our damage. They win the gunfight this time round.
Yep, great response from our damage. As Leonard will get taken out. Can Cougar stay alive in this process? No, he cannot. But will it matter? As Rita will look to be a bit aggressive in terms of position. This is the important part. Our damage can leave that drop shot. Yes, they can. He's right behind his strikers. One does get down, but a lovely drop shot, and that should see the round out. Bar a miracle from Dragons. Does he get the break on B? Yes, he does, and that does find some time. Strikers bouncing left and right, but the respawns coming in as Leonard comes through. Will that blink over? No, somehow Toast does stay alive for a second. Sergio coming through. Cougars regroups from the B hill. That should be it. They have the numbers. The respawns do not come through this time. Excellent from our damage. Very happy with that, Chris.
Yep. It's just so important you win that initial.
Well.
It's so important you win that initial, especially when these drops now come through. And because you don't have so much to ride on your home hill, or on your home drop, I should say. I keep saying home hill. On your home drop, it's one of these things where you really do have to put a lot of stock into those mid drops. It wouldn't surprise me to see something maybe come through on the mid drop once again. But that time round as well, for our damage, you had the advantage of having a hold of that shot grenade as well. This time round, though, they are going to give up that advantage that they did have and just go for the home loadout. So yes, okay, they got a little bit more to play with, but I would have liked to see them maybe start to use, you know, that advantage they had on the home drops and keep it rolling. Just keep it rolling, so you're always one step ahead in that respect to help you get a hold of this mid push. Of course, this drop shot now, which was placed in by Rated R, that's a really bad flash by Strikers
himself.
Yeah, he has.
Holds back out. No, he's not going to have that opportunity. Dragons does find him. Meanwhile, last round of the half here. So, will things change? In the meantime, Zorkos will find Dragons. He has the time to do so. A revive comes through for Rated R, and they have numbers advantage here, so it's not over just yet for Rated R. Nice shotgun in. Will allow Cougars actually rotate as well, so it's not just over yet. Drop shot picked up. Here come our damage to prevent that drop pickup, and they do find that. Sergio wasn't able to backpack it in time, I don't think, so Rita will get a drop shot. Or will he?
No, he didn't.
No, he was backpacked in time. Well done, Sergio. Heads up play as he saw the French players fly over to him on his screen.
Our damage now, though. Quite happy to lance a Roya here and keep Toast and Co. away from this B site. Toast is now going to be dropped as well, so he will be taken down. They should be able to hold this. Couple of kills going to come in the favour this time round of our damage. Cougars put some shots into Strikers, letting them know.
Suppressing fire for some reason.
Pushing through now. It's a big gunfight for Sergio to try and win. He's going to take some bullets here, though. A 1v2. He's going to drop Strikers and manage to get away as well. Nicely done. And it will just stave off the push of our damage as they did look for a domination, but they are still the ones in control here. 5v5 though again. Everybody back up.
Our damage can relax a little now, Chris. They've got map control. They've got points control. Strikers with a double, meanwhile, though, catching out two players. I don't think they were aware of Strikers' position in there. And that's allowing Strikers to pull off such a play so quickly. Physics will find Sergio, but our damage already overextending using that numbers they found from Strikers' plays. Toe should get taken down. The respawns come through, but they will recover. Check the points. Our damage, they just need to play their lives at this point. Don't allow domination potential to come true for Rated R. And just wait for the respawns.
The thing is here though, Rita did actually have a hold of the drop shot, but he has been killed by a Dob, so that's influential for Rated R. They can maybe try and get something done here. It's a big flash by Dragons, will at least decap. Cougars and Co trying to get something done. It's going to be Leonard try and push through Juice. He will be dropped though. It should be our damage getting control once again. They're going to be able to use their numbers to get through. Dragons was dropped on the other side of things, and they will be able to capture it just about. Dob is there to try and seal the deal here for Rated R, but it is the kills coming in the favour of our damage. Toast now having to back on down. And just holding the position he is in. Inside of Juicy will back down though, and Toast and Co. We're in a really good spot there, but maybe got a little bit over-aggressive, and our damage now are hunting. And they don't really need many points here. They're going to get a hold of B. They'd win off one. They'll definitely win off two. They will actually just eliminate if the rest of the team don't respawn back up. That's 3-1 now to our damage.
Yep, lovely job. I was about to criticise actually Reader going down there in the centre of the map and perhaps opening the way for Rated R potential for domination, but no, perhaps not a little bit. Not too organised with Rated R there in the end, making those final plays, and our damage just having their way. 3-1 the score. Of course, we're going into the second half now. E-Hill down at the bottom, so you'd argue drop shot isn't as important a place now to win. Question is, will that change the strategies of these teams? I don't think. No, it'll be the exact same here. One player of each going to the E-Hill on the bottom of the map. And it's all about this drop shot once again.
So it's going to come down to whoever sticks their shotgun a little bit better, and neither team quite finding anything. Sergio and Co are going to be dropped, though. Leonard is going to be dropped himself as well, and actually it works out to be a much better shotgun here coming out of our damage, and they're going to get control of the drop shot here as well. We'll find pretty much every single kill that they could possibly want. Toaster's the only one to answer back. It's a good job that he did. Oh, no, honestly, I think, our damage would have been in control of this round. They might have already gotten it done. Toast now in a good fight against Strikers, but the thing is, they're just wasting his time. He needs to be trying to defend the hills. The domination's going to come through in 2-1. There's another round for our damage. 3 in a row. Looking very solid here, and these initials are just not going Rated R's way. When they do go their way, they win the round, but the last 3, they've struggled to do anything in and around that B site, and honestly, it's coming down to these shot grenades just not being as solid.
Yeah, and you can see the difference now in the two teams in terms of elimination. Strikers being that hammerhead aggressive player that he's always been known for, and he's actually having some great success in these opening shotgun battles. This could be the last round for Rated R on District. It's clear that these initials are crucial on District in turning them into triple caps. Meanwhile, placement-wise, not too much difference, but a shot grenade response in Rated R's camp, because our damage have been using theirs quite effectively. Yeah,
I mean, it's been there a little bit, but I think, in all honesty, I don't really get the grenade down to the bottom side of an arcade over towards the bandstand. Yes, it might help things out, but the problem is, if you are Rated R, you're losing this gunfight in and around this point. This is where your bread is being buttered, so to speak. Strikers good this time around, though. Sergio is going to win the initial gunfight. Physics is going to be able to find the kill on him eventually, but is going to be dropped by the shock. Is just about going to be able to get out and will get himself back up. But control is there for Rated R this time around. Some aggression coming out of Dove and Toast as well, but here comes Reader from behind. That's going to open things up here. There's a big gunfight. Who can win it? It's going to be Dove. Nicely done from him. He will get a hold of the drop shot as he gets 2 kills. Rated R in a good position in this round. They're going to make the push now for the decap over towards D. Striker's trying to get something done. Leonard will find him as well. Zorkos now in a really bad spot. This should be around over towards Rated R. Zorkos is going to find one. Here comes the drop shot, though. Just try and seal the deal if you're Rated R. You may well do that, but here come our damage. They will be able to break this one, and Sergio will have to back on down and will go down. So D is now going to go on the side of our damage, who are yet to get a point on the board. Dragons is going to catch Reader with his pants down, but still, it's Rated R in control.
Nice Secret Man from Dragons. Is he going to go for that 1v on Physics? Yeah, he does, but unfortunately, we know they have control due to our damage of the D hill. Now, they're going to be able to push. I mean, the points-wise, Rated R have great control, but they keep dying at this point, as many players come off respawn. Will our damage keep pressurizing down here? They will get the break. So now it's just a matter of time, you feel as though, for our damage to use the resources. Although, saying that, Dove, he has other ideas. Great flashbang, pushes in despite the cross from Cougars. And now he has control of bandstand. Take it slow at this point, Chris, for Rated R, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to do anything special. You've got the points, but I mean, if you get a hold of E, that makes things just tick down that little bit quicker. For our damage, you need to really make a move now. It's getting into the realms of impossibility, even with a 1 cap here for Rated R.
Thing is, Chris, drop shot will be up soon, and so Rated R, that's all they need to focus on at this point, staying alive and getting the drop shot. But Physics, he's really chopping into the lives now of our damage, but meanwhile Sergio going off down at the E-Hill. Cougars will fall as well, so it's going the way of Rated R. Just need to stop anything crazy coming in from our damage. Yeah, Sergio getting another double. Dove as well. This is the Rated R we like to see, Chris.
Yeah,
winning these crucial shotgun battles, and now they're back in the game.
Much more like it. 3 rounds is what they need, though, here still, Toby. Be 4 rounds in a row to stay in this series, at least anyway. They go 1-0 down. They just need 1 more if you're our damage. And it comes down the last couple of rounds. They've won those initials over to... Sorry, just this round. They've won that initial over towards the drop shot, and that is what is making the difference. Loadout is going to come through here from the side of Rated R. Sergio will now get himself some grenades to play with, and that, I'd imagine it's going to go over towards the drop shot.
Yeah, wouldn't be too surprised about that, Chris. As we can see, the round history at the bottom of the screen, it was 3 rounds in a row for our damage, so Rated R, they stopped that momentum. They did need to, of course, as our damage need 1 more round. Incendiary's actually going down at Hotel, and you know, you only get 1, meanwhile, but it could be that 1 kill, that 1 pick that really decides the E fight here. We know it's going to be a 1v1, so that could honestly be the dictator of who gets control there at E hill. See if Striker's going to drop.
He's going to go for it straight away, but they're just going to stick the shot grenade straight down. Well worked, and he will be taken down. Nicely done.
Good angle from Dove, that getting out as well with his life. Sergio being aggressive on Radar as well. He has right-hand advantage, damage as well. Will he find the pick? Yes, he will. I believe Radar. No, actually, Radar does stay alive for the second. Zorkos going to get drop shotted as well. This is all going so well for Rated R. Just find the remaining picks and convert that into points. Will they find Physics? Sergio being aggressive. Physics won't be able to get out. This is nice from Rated R.
Yeah, super nice from Rated R. Actually, just applying the pressure. Here comes the drop shot through. I actually think that was a grenade that went flying in there. Strikers is easy pickings though. And suddenly now, if you are damaged, you're going to be pinned back. But the thing is, our damage are the only ones to pick up points right now, so they've given themselves a cushion. Even if they are going to, you know, lose 2 different hills here, they're not in too bad of a spot. E is now in their favor. Of course, they have lost their home hill over towards F. But D and F works. It works really well. So, Rated R, quite happy to set up here. Yes, of course, the win condition will definitely be in their favor when we do get to that point. A little while off that, but our damage are lucky, if anything, that they did have that little buffer at the beginning of the round, because that is actually what's keeping them in this round. Sergio and Kodo just trying to put this fire down, just trying to keep applying the pressure. That's the thing. They're the ones being proactive here, trying to win these gunfights as best they can. It is going to be 1 at least going over towards Strikers. Sergio says, well, if you're going to take down my down teammate, I'm going to take down yours, and we'll find Strikers with the help of Dragons. Nicely done here from Rated R. But at the same time, it feels like they're finding the kills momentarily, but they're not finding them necessarily in the important places. D&E was momentarily in the favor of our damage. They will lose E this time round, but will get a hold of F. So, you know, our damage just moving around the map in the right places here, you feel, Toby?
Yeah, you feel as though they're just accepting the casualties, but not throwing their lives away after losing those team fights, and as such, Radar have to put in so much work to get the points. They have caught up a little bit. Still like a 30-second gap now. As the round progresses, Physics is stuck in this fountain. I like to call this the death fountain. You're stuck in no man's land. Tries to go for that mantle, but not going to work out. Elimination comes through. Meanwhile, as Radar do finally get those all-important kills, one after the other. And, you know, honestly, that was a great round from them. I mean, it wasn't, you know, nail-biting, shall we say, the plays, but it was just on an individual basis. They won those crucial shotgun battles just enough times to force our damage into submission.
Very well done by Rated R here, getting themselves back into this game. And honestly, it really has been down. You know, those 3 in a row that they lost was coming down to the fact that they weren't winning those initial fights. Now they're going to take the shot grenade out of it as well, which really was working for our damage for the most part. Hasn't in the last couple of rounds though, so let's see how this one unfolds. Rated R risking it, if you like. You know, it's less for them to work with as well. They believe in their initial prowess anyway. The Nasha's very strong. Cougars though, with those incense, will maybe make their way up. The flash is coming through. Sergio, can he create a little bit of magic? He really has not quite been there for Rated R so far. Not getting a lot done. He's going to put some shots in towards Strikers, looking to find the pick down the corner. He is going to find 1 drop at least for the rest of his team here to help back him up. Physics is going to go down. Zokos is there all alone now. He has to come up with something quite magical here. Is he going to be able to find even 1? Not quite. Rated R. The wind in their sails right now, Toby. They will get a hold of the drop shot as well. They have lost E, but they're in a good position to go for that home hill hold.
Yeah, Incendiary in the back pocket for Cougars still, so we can use that to perhaps get a kill when Toast makes a play. You'd expect him to, just hiding around that corner, using third person. There goes the throw, and it does stop the break for now. He's got a really big task in front of him, though. He's going to play his life. Yes, he will. Runs past Toast to keep himself alive when the numbers are not in his favor. Nicely done. It's a great round start once again from Rated R. Our damage perhaps be kicking themselves for not finishing this at an earlier point in this game. As Rated R, they've really picked up, haven't they, Chris?
They really have. We could be heading towards our first round number 9. And that's really what it comes down to. No more round number 13s. It's about round number 9s now.
Number 9s.
Well, let's see. Can Rated R force the issue here? If you are damaged though, Cougar's trying to get aggressive, trying to force the issue himself for his team. He is going to go down for that. Look at the position here from Leonard. He's going to get wiped out by Zorkos. Turns around, meat shield available of course, and pistol shots going down just will push them away, but if only momentarily. Doesn't have the advantage here either. Toast is going to find him, and they will push them back. Rated R looking to send us to this final round. The decisive round in round number 9, but right now, it's still doable here for our damage. It's not out of the question. A 2-cap would do it for them. Anything you noticed here, too?
Drop shot up in 30 seconds now, and Rated R, they have control across the halfway line throughout District, and they have the points advantage. Our damage have it all to play for now at this point. As it seems, you know, that this could go to a round number 9, as you said, Chris, and Sentry in hands of our damage. Redder possessioned up top to prevent this quick pick of the drop shot. But with Rated R having such good control, 30 seconds on the clock. Redder doesn't know that Dragon's there actually.
So he's put a good chunk in his life. He put a good chunk into Dragons actually, and that's had to scare him away if anything.
Drop shot is up. Here it goes. Redder looking for the quick pick, and just as the flashback comes through, that was lovely from our damage, getting that flash. Meanwhile, the kills are going the way of Rated R down bottom. Baghdad has one drop shot left here. We'll have to make great use of that.
Well, that might get 2.
That's lovely. Strikers does actually fall to physics. Unfortunately, COG team will win in 3 seconds. I don't think any break will come through, Chris. We are going to a round number 9.
Round number 9 for the first time here. A decisive round. Yeah, 3 rounds in a row for both 2 teams. And I said last time, you know, it was Rated R who took the lead and initially didn't go on to lose it. This time around, though, it was our damage who had galloped ahead, if you like. Oh, you're not going to be spicy and stick something down in the mid-map for round number 9, are you? Go on. But the thing is, for Rated R, those mid-blocks, those mid-fights are going in their favour. I don't think you really need to change anything too much here as the utility grenades come through. If it's anything's going to change here, it has to be for our damage. Yes.
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 I agree with that weapon placement.
Do it.
Nothing too spicy, though, actually, to use that. Okay. Just use the spiciest thing available here, Chris. Boom shut down a bandstand. 1 in the chamber, of course, going down. And honestly, that's been a nice little fight for our damage with that incendiary.
Yes, that's the thing. They've got the incend over here. They've got the incend over here.
They've got the advantage, but that's going to change the dynamic completely. 3v1, big strategy actually differential here.
Yep.
One team is going for the drop shot in the form of Rated R. They get that quite cleanly, but can Cougar stop that in its tracks? He does find one. He does find the drop shot as well. That's drop shot out of play. Cougars, you've done your job. You can go to the death ring, doesn't matter. But what can your teammates do now with the power weapon control?
Was it backpacked as well?
Boom shot, I think. I mean, the drop shot definitely was, but the boom shot, there we go. It's on the back of Strikers. I think he might have used that actually during that action. Dragon's all-important kill on Redder actually, allowing his team to get control of the cinema. For our damage, they have points control, as they have the E-Hill with Striker's positioning.
Nicely done. And ultimately, I love the weapon placement coming in from our damage. It detracts away from that boom, that drop shot a little bit, but then they still invest in Cougars going over there, and he comes up with the big play. And that might be the one that decides this map. Our damage now sitting pretty here. Here comes the push from Rated R over towards E. Cougars, of course, setting up where they can. Strikers, though, he still has that boom shot available as well. Do Rated R know this, though? Here comes the push. Boom shot in. Dove dead. Here comes the push on the other side of things, though, from Sergio. Can he find anything here? He can find absolutely nothing. Our damage converge around him, and that's suddenly a few members dead from Rated R. They're dropping like flies here. They just have to move away from Juice as best they can. The shot's going to come through on the other side of things. They will be pushed there. Toast is going to go down as well. This is looking like our damage, who have been bleeding the last 3 rounds, but just seemingly coming back to life here when it matters.
Yep, they've got all the kills necessary, have our damage to see this round out at this point. They've done the hard work. They just need to look at these resources in the form of drop shot and boom shot as they come up in 20 seconds time, Chris.
So there's still enough time here for Rated R to get back into this round. It's going to be coming to the point where a 1-cap will do it for our damage. The angle's coming in, though. Dragons is going to be dropped super low. Thankfully, not early enough to
Radar need
deter
to look
them.
for Cougars, yeah, they are. They're making plays down at E Hill. That's Cougars dead. Can they look for that kill over at the boom shot? Strikers have to go huge.
Out. He manages to find the kill on the Strikers as well. This could be it for Rated R, but look at the score in the top left corner. Our Damage are the ones in control of this, and now it has to be an F push. It has to come in from Rated R.
Big boom shot.
Boom shot goes through. Only lands a hit marker though. Will not find Cougars. They do have the drop shot available as well. There comes the Incend. He's going to find one. Sergio trying to get this done for his team. The domination has to come through. It's going to be a swarm win condition if Rated R can't get it done though, but they just seemingly walk through our Damage. Is there anybody there to stop this? No, there is not. It's a round number 9 win coming in for Rated R. 5-4, 4 rounds in a row. The bleeding, we said it was going on from our Damage, and it eventually continues in round number 9. What a push out of Rated R.
Impressive showing, honestly, from them. I thought as soon as our Damage won that last team fight in the middle of the map that they just hold that out very simply. They didn't need to do anything special, did our Damage, but unfortunately for them, Rated R really put their team into the next gear, start winning those all-important shotgun battles, rotate to the boom shot early, take down Strikers, and then, of course, despite Sergio's boom shot across the map, it doesn't really matter when he has an Incend in his back pocket.
It just takes 2 important gunfights there to win them.
Yeah.
You win the gunfight over towards drop shot, you win the gunfight at boom shot, and suddenly you're on a prime position to win the round. It was a great Incend as well that Sergio sends out there after you got one player weak. You know, the boom shot wasn't necessarily used as well as they would have liked.
It really did come to that one kill to allow his team to push into the enemy's home hill.
Because then they can come in from 2 different angles. The flank comes through. Nicely done by Rated R. They will take map number 1 here against our Damage. And that was a map last time that these two played. Our Damage won that one 7-6. Rated R this time round. Yes, it was an our Damage pick 5-4. And now we move on to the Rated R pick over towards Vazgar. Very different map, it has to be said. Very, very different map. So what will we see out of this one? I feel like we've definitely got a series on our hands here, though, Toby.
We have. Honestly,
I mean, the last one,
stuff.
It has to make up for the last one because that was over in about 30 seconds. So hopefully we get plenty of rounds in here.
Well, a spanner has been thrown in the works by Rated R there on District, and now as we go to their pick on Vazgar, as you said, very different. I'm curious, actually, to see how the weapon placements go. So far, we haven't seen anything too crazy weapon placement-wise in Pro League tonight, Chris.
I would say, you know, there was a couple there that, you know, sometimes you do see the home hill pushes coming through where you just literally totaling up and just mirror matching each other, whereas that one was a bit more strategy about where you were placing things. I really liked the last pick actually from our Damage to put the boom shot down low next to Bandstand, but
it worked for them initially.
But then you need to win the second one as well. Of course, it does have a 2-minute respawn. If you're not going to win the round very quickly, then that is going to come back into the swing of things. But yeah, I think, you know, we've seen a couple of different things, and you know, they were tactical things that were working in certain teams' favour. So I think it was nice to see from both of them. But Vazgar coming up next. What are we thinking now, Toby? Because I mean, I thought, in all honesty, that our Damage would take that map, and I thought Rated R would take Vazgar. So am I now staring down the barrel of a Rated R 2-0?
It could happen. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I mean, I was about. What were we saying on the first half of District? That Strikers had the most kills as per usual, really setting his team apart from Rated R. But then that second half starts coming through. You see MVP Sergio taking his usual mantle and getting those all-important kills. Dov getting double kills left, right, and centre, and then taking Strikers down on that important initial for the drop shot. Anything's possible at this point now. Rated R, they've answered our queries, our concerns. Are they really in competition in those shotgun battles? Are they back to full form? That was really impressive for them, honestly, in those initials in the second half of District. They just need to carry that form into Vazgar now, and importantly for our Damage, they need to respond after what was 4 rounds in a row for Rated R.
Yes.
And our Damage had a really big round lead on a map they've previously been very strong on against Rated R.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting one going into map number 2, and I'm curious. You know, I think, you know, if Rated R win this 2-0, it really does play with the standings as well heading into the last week. So we'll be really going down to the wire before we go over towards San Diego. Of course, EU's finest, they're very much on a plateau at the top there. They're looking very, very solid, but the rest of these places are quite open. It has to be said. Bearwood could potentially drop last. I'm not going to necessarily say that's true, but you know, they'll be teetering on the edge at least. I think Rated R, if they win this 2-0, should be in a good spot to move on up, but we will see. There's plenty more gears to be played, and we will have that confirmed at the end of the night, whatever the results are. But we are going to be heading into map number 2 in just a second. what are we thinking now then? So because I'm feeling Rated R 2-0 after that one.
Well, my predictions are in. I said our damage 2-0, didn't I? So
Well, you're done.
that's out of the cards. So I need to shift
Alex
a little
would have got
bit.
it right.
Well, Rated R, you've proved me wrong. You've done the hard work. You've shown that you are turning up here, and they need the win this week more than anyone else. They're at the bottom of the table. Our damage, they're sitting comfortable in second currently, I believe. Obey did, of course, lose 2-0 to EU's finest here. This is important for Rated R in the grand scheme of things. You know, they've shown that they've got the potential. They would be so upset now not to finish this off 2-0.
A 2-0 would be really important for them. Even if they won it 2-1, it would be good, but a 2-0 would be even better. You know, when it comes down to round count, comes down to results against each other, etc., etc. So these are all important things. We are going to be loading into Vasgar in just a second. I'm keeping an eye to my side. I do actually have the screen loaded up to see where we're at. We haven't quite started the map, but we will be getting everybody in the lobby and getting started up. So far, though, I mean, we're very impressed with EU's finest in game number 1.
100%.
Do you feel as if it's like a bit more of a return to form now? They seem to, like our damage, they seem to progressively be getting a little bit better as time's gone on. Obviously, in week number 1, there was real like cat amongst the pigeons thrown in when Rated R beat them 2-0. You know, me and Free were like, well, we expected them to prove a tough game, but the fact that Rated R won that. And it's strange to see, isn't it, the fact that Rated R winning series number 1 of the EU Pro League and smoked EU's finest 2-0. And now you look at how it's turned out. EU's finest just on a trajectory, an upward trajectory,
100%.
looking very, very solid. Rated R have looked worse as time's gone on.
They seem to be proving us correct in our assumption that perhaps because the game is so new that everything's up in the air currently.
Yeah.
And now that EU's finest seem to have a good grip of escalation in Gears 5 and these new maps, they seem to be performing flawlessly. They didn't really make any mistakes earlier. Obey, it wasn't so much what they did wrong, it was just what EU's finest did right constantly, outplaying as a team individually, and as such, EU's finest looking as strong as ever currently, and you'd expect them now to actually say, hey, we are actually going to separate ourselves from the pack at this point. I know Blaze was talking about that in quite detail as going into today's and next week's games. EU's finest, I think they'll be happy with themselves. Our damage, though, they need to come back in this current game, Chris. They are second as it stands, but that is not set in stone. And Vasgar, of course, is that second map coming in now. Prediction-wise, Chris.
Yeah.
Do I flip-flop? Do I say
I mean, it would be very
the
easy to,
opposite?
considering Rated R 1-0 up.
Statistically speaking.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Rated R pick, and the fact that they picked it after not winning the map once is bold, but the fact is that our damage have not played this map. I was right. I knew they hadn't played it. So that does make a difference, and maybe Rated R are saying to themselves, well, we feel good about this because we know we played this plenty. We've had a couple of close games, both with Obey Alliance, if I remember rightly. So they feel nice on this map. Maybe the changes have made them feel even better about it, and that's maybe why we're seeing it. But for the first time, we will see our damage on this map. Of course, they go over towards the Cog side. Rated R will be on the Swamp side.
Yeah, big 2v2 fight over at that B-hill already getting underway as Strikers does find the better of Sergio. That all-important head-to-head there of the Icebreakers for the team. Simple 2v1 now for the players of our damage to find Dov. There will get central B-hill control. Meanwhile, as we flick over to the C-hill, Cougars close and personal. Redder will find him though. Domination going to be blinking, but look how close the spawn is to this hill. If you are new to Vasgar, welcome to the stream, as here come the numbers just flying through for Rated R. It's so simple at times for you to retake that C-hill. It is such a difficult one to dominate on if you're not getting those kills very quickly.
And they just keep the momentum rolling here. If you are Rated R, in a bad spot, which suddenly turns into you having two different hills. Strikers maybe caught with his pants down there. Sergio's going to find one. Can he find one onto Rita as well? It's good movement, not good enough though. Rita will find him. Can he find the second onto Dov here as well? Just going to roll in. Leonard and Cole will clean this one up, and they're rotating all the way over towards B as well. Dov is going to get taken down by Cougars, and Zorkos is there for support as well. Cougars will eventually clean this one up. It's a 2v2 now as Cougars and Cole trying to stay alive here with physics. Toaster is going to be decapping B. He needs to try and stay alive as long as he can, wait for the rest of the team to then push on through from their spawn. Cougars will take some shots, and if I'm honest, they need to win these gunfights. They do win these gunfights. Dragons and Toast do well, and they will keep our damage. just about at bay here.
That was great from Cougars. He was just playing his life that whole time on the cover, waiting for his teammate Physics to come up in the back and patiently waiting despite that triple cap looming. Very well done from him. Of course, a relatively new player for our damage is Cougars, making the roster change in recent times. Spaniard, of course. Comes toast, though, as he isn't aware that Redder is hiding around that corner. Secret Mane. Points. Very similar, actually, for both these teams here, Chris.
I don't really get anything done here. Dragons has been pushed back now and will make his way over towards A, maybe just to get a little bit of a power play up top. As Rita now has to back on down, just going to defend. He's home. He'll take plenty of shots, but will survive. Expecting the push to come from up top. It's actually come from down low. Dragons comes through and will find the kill. They should be able to get a hold of A here. I don't know. Is this going to give them the win condition if they have both? I potentially think so. It'll be very, very close. Yes, it will.
Yes, it will.
Just
and they
about.
have numbers as well, actually, Chris. 4 players of Rated R here converging on this B hill from different areas, but Toast running a little bit too early, perhaps you'd argue, as Cougars has no damage on him. He's going to come up in the back, but not get the point blank. Doesn't matter as Zorkos starts getting kills. Melee start being thrown, and the COG side will respond on this B hill, but can they respond elsewhere? Yes, they can. Strikers wins that all-important 1B, and the elimination comes through. Unfortunately for me, Chris, I mean, they had the numbers, did Rated R, but they just looked a little bit too scrappy. Perhaps go in at the right correct times.
It was overzealous for me.
Yeah.
They're in a position to win the game with a 2-cap. They go for the 3 to dominate, of course, and in the end, they do just about get pushed back here. So, round number 1 going over towards our damage, as it did in map number 1. But they went on to lose that one, so I mean, it would be harsh to say a 50-50 chance of winning the first round is maybe the omen to say you're going to lose the map, but Flashbang's now put down.
Both teams,
No
mind you.
surprises. Yep.
Complete match. I think we've seen that just yet. It's always been smoke or flash contrasting or elsewhere. Placements on the map, but it is equal here. 4 players, mind you, going over to B for Rated R now. They're changing things up. They're looking to be aggressive on this side. Meanwhile, we've got 2 players of our damage flying over A, and yep, thank you. Rated R is about to say, if you're not going to play aggressive at the B hill with 4 players, rotate back to protect your home hill rather than sitting there. But being caught out, hey, Chris.
Yeah, Leonardo's going to be dropped. Cougars is going to clean that one up, and they should be able to push over here on towards A very, very quickly. Nobody in control of B either. This is going to be our damage totaling points up. They are actually going to make the push over towards B. Toasters maybe chose the wrong direction. This could be a domination coming in for our damage. Just about gets in there in time for the rest of his team to then come on through. It is going to be dropped by Cougars. It still could be a domination coming through. Here comes the rest of Rated R. The flash comes through. They will be able to break. Can they find the kills? No, they cannot. They're just getting wiped out in waves here by our damage. A convincing round as you're ever likely to see. 2-0 now. 58 seconds is all it took. And they double their lead. Nicely done by Arm Damage.
Outstratted were Rated R, simply put there. I mean, if you have to throw 4 players at a neutral hill like that, you have to go fast. You have to go immediately. Instead, they just sat on their line, if you will, and didn't make any plays. Not a single player looked aggressive. And as such, Rated R, they were caught with their pants down. They had to turn back on themselves, caught out in the middle of nowhere. And Our Damage kept their lives and saw it out in the end. And honestly, Rated R, perhaps they'll be kicking themselves at this point. Weapon placement wise, I don't think that will change things up too much, although
it's different though, isn't it? It's something different on both sides of things. So the Retro Lancer going down on the side of our damage.
Again, from Rated R, on the C side of the map. Make that 5. They're all flying over. They've given up B hill straight away. 5 players on this side of the map. They need to move. They need to use the numbers at this point. Chris, and Zorkos has got the Retro waiting for them.
The Retro is there, as you said. Zorkos will quite happily rain that down upon them. They're going to have to back on down as that shot grenade does come through. It's nicely used, actually, by Rated. I really like that. And it's going to allow them to push around the left-hand side. They should be able to get a hold of A. They're going to push them away as well. But, I mean, in this scenario, if you are damaged, you push over towards B, you get control of that, you rotate over towards C, and just out-rotate them.
Yeah, simple. They've already done that. 3 players of our damage have rotated behind Rated R using
and now they've got a pinch from 2 different angles. They can potentially do something here against Rated R.
The important thing is Rita doesn't overextend here. He gets the downs, but he doesn't want to get outnumbered before his teammate comes. Zorkos actually does come through. Cougars perhaps should get picked up, but no. Cougars turns back on him. Dov does find a kill. So Rated R, they get the kills to stay alive in this strat, but they don't have enough kills to start making plays just yet. It's going to be an equal 2v2 push here, and they need to make it.
Toast is the important one here. He didn't really take too much damage, and he will just get taken down far too easily. It's now the A hold going to come in for our damage. Sergio Has to go massive for his team here. He's been pushed from 3 different angles. He is dead as a doorknob. Felix will find that kill, and now they push over towards B. This could be the domination coming through for our damage, who looks so good here on Vazgar against Rated R. And Rated R just been out-rotated, it has to be said.
Simply put, the Rated R, they're going for these extravagant plays, these strats, 4 players to home street, if you can call it that, on Vazgar, and they're just getting pinched. Our damage are reading the rotations and setting up accordingly. They're keeping the points at bay, they're keeping their lives when Rated R do throw numbers. And now another push comes in for Rated R, trying to find strikers. They do get that, but they need to keep moving. They need to move quickly as points are building elsewhere on the map.
It's looking so good for our damage here.
Yeah, kills
it's
again.
looking so good. Physics finds 2. Looking for a 3rd with the pistol. Not going to be able to quite find it, but honestly, you feel like the damage has done everything decap. Nobody getting any points here.
Honestly, our damage's goal right now is just to stop the Rated R push in their tracks. They've been doing it so far successfully. Leon are trying to find strikers on right hand. Not too successful just yet. Points-wise, our damage, they have 1 B hill. They can take it as slow as they want, Chris. Just play your life at this point and don't give Rated R any potential on any win condition.
Well, our damage, to be fair, you're talking about how they only need so little. They're continuously actually just running through Rated R at this point. This should be 3-0. There's still a 50-second win condition, and it could be turned on its head, but every single gunfight is going over towards Rated R. Apart from that one, of course. Dragons is going to find 1 under physics as I curse him to his death. Shot's going to come through here, but they're all in the favor of our damage once again. Nearly everybody dropping. This may well could be a domination going to come through. Leonard really needs to go massive against Zokos here. Good movement. Isn't good enough shots, though. Zokos will take him down. This should be the round. The elimination does come through. Nobody choosing to respawn back in. 3-0 to our damage. We did see 3 rounds in a row in the last map, though.
We did.
And they still went on to lose that. So there is time for Rated R here as the game does start to develop with weapons being placed. But our damage, honestly, irrelevant of weapons, just look so much more secure on the rotation, etc. They just look to be in a better spot. Long shot now placed, and that's what I love to see. So make sure we're watching somebody who picks that up straight away there, Toby.
Yeah. Rather, it'll be
I know.
slight place down for... Oh, okay. For our damage, the passive play. And again, Rated R, they want to continue this aggressive approach to this game, it seems, by throwing drop shot down.
But the thing is,
hill.
Going for the drop shot there is
but
meaning
they're not sending 4 players for this one time. I mean, yes, there's a sniper there. Are they going to be... No, they're actually going to go get the shot grenade, in fact. So they're not going to go for it straight away.
So shock V long shot, essentially, for this drop shot.
They need to make this placement count.
Who's got the long shot here?
Disable this long shot. His strikers, not the aggressive player, of course. That is on the front line this time. He is picking up the sniper instead. As things do slow down for the time being, it looks like Cougars is fancying himself in this 1v once again. Will strikers look for that body check? All it needs is 1 body check. But no, Cougars actually get pinched. Rated R do turn around this time round and catch Cougars out. Our damage, are they responding elsewhere after losing a player? They are looking for it, but Sergio is holding his own despite being on left-hand disadvantage. Our damage finally pressuring through. They find Dov. This is a big team fight indeed.
It's a massive team fight. Dragons is going to try and come through. I think he catches a few flush there. He did find 1, and as does Leonard, so momentarily it is advantage over towards Rated R on this side of things. Rita has to make the push. He's going to get taken down. It's a long fight here for this drop shot. Eventually, the domination is just about denied by Cougars over towards C. The shot's going to come through into Toast as well. He will be able to clean this up with the help of his team, and we'll have to back on down. But the damage is maybe already done if you are our damage. You lost a couple of gunfights. You've lost the drop shot. You don't have control of 2 points. Dragons is going to try and force him away. I don't really know why Dragons got so aggressive there, to be honest with you. The drop shot comes through from Sergio, so should still have something available there. He's going to have to back on down. I don't think he does, you know. I think he's used both, but it doesn't seem to matter. Nasher in hand, very solid with that as well. Cougars is going to go down. It's looking like a round for Rated R for the first time here on Vazgar. Going to have to back on down. Strikers will catch him out, gets the meat shield, but will get taken down himself. It is momentarily looking like our damage could get themselves in control, but the ones with the lead is Rated R.
Yep, there you go. Physics does find Dov. And honestly, our damage, they've looked textbook. They've looked flawless so far this map. In terms of a team basis, the rotations are just so on point. Rated R have looked desperate. They need to get some kills to get them going. Zorkos and Cougars get 3 kills between them. The B-Hill exchange should be changing now. The points is in favour of Rated R, but our damage still do have control of this map.
Is the win condition coming through for our damage.
in the middle.
Dov trying to get something done, really going between a rock and a hard place here. They will keep a hold of it just with a little bit of his help. So,
oh, look at this rotation, yeah.
That's a big fat rotation over
4
towards C.
players.
I love that. I don't know who that was from our damage who dropped down into crater to then move back round to help his team. But really heads up play, but is it too late?
And that's the thing, our damage can just stay alive a lot more easily, it seems, than Rated R. And this is the result. They get the numbers back, the reinforcements to start fighting back against Rated R's significant pushes.
I think you're very right there what you say. If that was a Rated R member in and around C, he probably would have propped himself up against those boxes and went for the 1v4 fight. Whereas it's different for our damage. They rotate around, they know where to use their numbers well.
Drop shot as well picked up near on B for our damage, so they have all the tools to get this done. They have the win condition. Break. Comes in, big drop shot. Not going to find Toast, he reacts just in time, but numbers still in favour of our damage. These are the only players alive here at the Sea Hill. Full Rated R, they have to go off, but no, they cannot. As our damage seem to be seeing this round out very comfortably. As the win condition still clearly in favour. Rated R, look at this push down B. This needs to work from Chris, it needs to work right now.
Tell you what, they've got potential here. I think a 2-cap would do the job. They're very, very close. They need to capture it really quickly though. I'll get both members on there, they're going to. A and B goes in their favour. Swarm will win in 9 now, and suddenly this is Rated R looking like they may be able to get around here, but the A push is going to come through from our damage. Which way is this one going to go? It's going to be very, very tight. Cog team to win it in 1, and the rotation comes through. Nice answer back by our damage from a late push out of Rated R, but a 4-0 lead is what our damage deserve, in all honesty. That's the best we've seen Rated R look so far, but our damage very dominant so far on Vazgar.
Yeah, improvements from Rated R there, but you know, the general consensus of that round, just like this map, is that our damage just leading the way. They're always one step ahead of Rated R. Rated R, they look desperate at times, I'll be honest, Chris, with these pushes. They're looking for these crazy shotgun plays over towards the power weapons, over towards these hills, and it's just not paying off because Rated R damage are always leading the way in what's to do next, and that's rotate typically. 4-0. Just need to change automatically. Rated R. 4 players again, sat in front of that drop shot, but they're not doing anything with it. 2 players trapped on tank with left-hand disadvantage. Rated R, you need to move now.
The movement comes through. Cougars and Physics are the ones winning the gunfight. Nearly everybody dropping here from Rated R. They're going to win this gunfight as well. Rita does eventually take down Dov, but Dragons is able to answer back with 1 kill at the Strikers, but he's going to be put in a rough spot. The elimination is probably going to come through. That's another round for our damage. Wow. 5-0. There's the map.
There's the response, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Fair play to our damage. They were simply the better team. That was raw domination. It's not even the round count, I'll be honest. Even if Rated R took some of those rounds, it could have been 5-2 in the end there, it wouldn't have mattered. No. Look at the eliminations. You know, our damage having their way, all players having their fair share of the shotgun kills, if you will. And honestly, I think the story there for Rated R, again, their pushes, they look desperate. Every time I brought the overhead map up, it seemed like the Rated R were trying some crazy strategy. This is basics, Chris. If you send 4 players to one side of the map, leaving your solo player on the other side, you need to be aggressive. But instead, Cougars, he was having his way elsewhere on the other map, getting those kills, forcing Rated R to come back on themselves. And typically, Rated R really just didn't do anything with those numbers, even on that stronger side.
What I will say is it felt like our damage just had a much better grasp of the map. It's not that linear, 3-lane sort of typical symmetrical map that you do see in Gears of War. It's very much a circle, and you've got to rotate in the right direction. Our damage always just seemed to be that little step ahead every single point. Whichever way they needed to move, they moved there correctly. They won the gunfights there as well, and that's why they win 5-0. A very, very convincing map number 2, which sends us over to Asylum. And honestly, I don't really know which way this one's going to go. You very much would think the wind is in the sails of our damage with a 5-0 win there. They'll probably be kicking themselves, though, because they know this could be 2-0. They were in control of that last round on District. If it hadn't been some good play out of Rated R, this one would be over. We'd be ending the stream. But we are going to go over to Asylum as it goes. Who are you fancying then? Because now I'm really not too sure. I thought Rated R will walk away as winners of that one. What I would say is that's 3 times they play Vazgar and they haven't won 1. So maybe just never play it again if you're Rated R.
Maybe just leave it be. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Vazgar is a very unique map. It's asymmetric, and Rated R, they tried some crazy stuff. It clearly didn't work out. But that is Gears basics, as I said, numbers. Asylum, this is a practice map. Rated R. You do need to stick to basics because that is typically what you're stronger at, but not right there. We're back on Asylum now. Get your act together, essentially. This is more point. Our damage did really well, but Rated R, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, because this is going to be a difficult map otherwise, while our damage are performing so well.
Yeah, this is much more of a typical like linear strategy
map, isn't it?
sort of Gears map. So maybe this works out a little bit better for Rated R. You would expect so based on what we've seen on District, which was a relatively strong performance. It was a close game, but I think if you lose a map in that way, surely it's going to play on your mind going into map number 3. Surely.
I mean, big time. It is definitely made them forget about District at this point. They've had a really good win on District, but that's just been thrown back in the face as our damage respond. And, you know, props to our damage. Speaking on that, they didn't let District get to them, did they? One bit. They were just clearly their experience showing against the relatively new team in Rated R. And honestly, with Asylum and having your first to 5 and boom and drop on center, things could be a little bit different. Of course, we're used to seeing drops being thrown up top on that B hill. Or the E hill rather, on that second half. Things could be a little bit different now, and I'm expecting Sergio and Dov especially to really push in and be their usual selves with their shotgun. They need to really pull their team up, get those shotgun kills from the get-go. Otherwise, I just see our damage having a cruise sail here on the rotations.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those maps that's not so easy to rotate. I think it's maybe a little bit easier on the first rotation of hills where you can go for the whole hills on the 2 sides of the bridge. But I think that it's not so easy to do it on this map as it is on Vazgar. So I'll be interested to see how Rated R respond. In all honesty, I think it's tough. It's going to be a tough situation to be in. You know, you get beat 5-0 just like that, and you're lucky to be in this game still, it has to be said. You pull off a good round in that last round over on District, and eventually you find yourself going over towards last map. We're going over to Asylum, which is really the most played map in the EU Pro League, at least I would imagine in the Gears Pro League, full stop. I mean, it's so popular, and you just feel as if the better all-around team usually wins Asylum. Usually is the case. So Rated R now need to get this one done, and it's strange to not have confidence in them because it's 1-1. You know, at the end of the day, they won the more basic map in District 5-4. They lose something a little bit different on Vazgar 5-0, heading over to something a bit more basic, a bit more Gears. You would feel as if you maybe lean towards Rated R, but the way that our damage played in that previous map just shows why we have so much faith in them here. Our damage played this one 4 times, won it 2. Rated R twice, and only won it once. Round percentage win does just about go over towards our damage, but these numbers are close. It has to be said.
They are very close. It's not
our damage with more experience on a competitive stance.
This is the thing. Asylum, I find a very important component of this map is just staying alive on an individual basis. You can get caught out so easily if you do overextend in the traditional sense of the word, go a little bit too far on cover. And I think Rated R, they need to make sure they don't give away silly lives like they have previously on Vazgar. See if they can do a bit better now, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, giving away silly lives is really what Rated R pretty much do. If they don't win these initials, then they're always seem to be in a bad spot. When it pays off, they're great. Like, when everything is flowing well, they look fantastic. But the only team looking fantastic right now is our damage. Somehow Sergio breaks on through. Dragons is there off the respawn. He's going to break on through and then break into pieces due to the Nasher of our damage. Very well done there. 1-0, a very quick round. And it's one of them ones though where the respawn timers are still quite high, so you're not going to really put too much stock into it from our damage's point of view. But a very, very solid start there for our damage. Rated R not really getting anything done, if anything. A really good start.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised now, weapon placement wise, if both teams go with the simple utility placement. But
would make sense.
You know, Rated R, if you want to throw a boom or drop down the middle of the map and change things up in an instant,
do it.
Be my guest, because our damage, they're really having their way at the moment. But no, once again, both teams starting off their map with a flashbang placement near homes. And I think, you know, if you're going to go for that heavy strat, that unorthodox push, Rated R, this home street is a good opportunity to do just that because of how difficult it can be to cut through the middle. Will they do that? That is the question. No, they will not. It will be just a base strat on both sides. And actually Rated R being aggressive through the B hill.
Oh, nicely done, Strikers. Can he spoil the party? Not quite. Sergio finds 2. Nicely done from him. He's literally probably my favourite player to watch in the EU Pro League. Rated R may well be bottom. He may be one of the most deaths. But
he's entertaining.
When he gets amongst it, his movement is fantastic to watch. Really just flies about the place, and sometimes when he finds these kills, he really does just make players look like mugs. And at times, he's inconsistent, but when he is really firing, he's a hard player to outgun and outmaneuver. Leonard now inside of A, not going to be able to get anything done. He's going to be dropped by Sergio. Once again, just killing everybody in his wake right now. Physics is going to find Toast, but on the other side of things, and they will get the home hills. This may be the domination going to come through if Cougars can't find something, and it's going to be denied over towards B. Cougars now making the push over towards A. Is eventually going to be found. These team have done what they needed, though. Got a hold of B and denied that rated R domination.
Our damage, though, they do keep the composure. All rated R playing to their strengths. Flying through to the enemy home hill after winning the initial at the neutral. And our damage will simply be waiting for respawns to come through now. Physics lit up just a little bit. I won't make a play on him just yet as the train does come through. But as it stands, our damage regrouping on the home hill to look for Sergio. Like to see Sergio to pull all the way back. Yeah, play it safe. He has had a great round so far, but he does need to keep his life. Of course, a very important key to victory, if you will, on Asylum, in my opinion. A unique characteristic is just keeping your life when close to your enemy like this.
And the Lancer Fire coming through from Leonard. He is going to push Physics away. Zorkos and Cole seemingly running for the hills here in this round. Rated R very much in control. And I think they just rolled with the punches here. In all honesty, they've all played their lives well. They've been winning the gunfights and just continued to do so. Flash going to come through. Zorkos trying to stave off the push with one of his own, but he's already been Lancered down. This should be a round for Rated R. Everybody dying from our damage, and it's as convincing as round number 1 was from our damage, in all honesty. A little bit slower, but the job is done. Rated R tying things up. One apiece now.
Yeah, that's your basic rated R, right? Keep the pace of the game going and never really set up, truly, right? They did, of course, pause when our damage got the B-hole control. I like that they didn't just throw themselves at Physics when he got a little bit red there on the tracks. But instead they regrouped, Dragons ran through, got the call out, had the nice little flank leading to that elimination. My concern, of course, for rated R is that, you know, that typically can't sustain itself unless you do have clear-cut shotgun battle victories, but I don't think our damage will be given up that easily, shall we say, on the initial. Let's see if the weapon placements play into that a little bit.
A little bit different, that. Spreading the resources, if you like, rated R, putting all their eggs in the shot grenade basket. And we'll try to use that over. Well, I'm not too sure. It is actually going to be Toast to take that, and he will go for the A hill, so maybe it's going to be a home hill push. But the rest of Rated R concentrating their resources in around B, as the rest of our damage rotate back over towards the home hill. So maybe they want mid control, maybe they want bridge control. They're currently getting that, though. Sergio somehow finally shot on the strikers there. Yeah. Just about in time. He will pay with his life. And pay with B and C being in the control of our damage. Toast can go no further, as that shot grenade has really just not helped himself at all.
Nope. He would get angled out from the train tracks, so can't really make plays.
I mean, the C push would have been what they wanted there.
Yeah, they needed to go. They needed to go
and then
forward.
The shot grenade is just completely shut it down, and the shot grenade came from right outside of things. I think it was actually Toast with it, so that maybe not the best play coming out of Rated R. That not fantastic, has to be said.
Yeah, I mean, they're not very good at being reactionary. Rated R, I think that's the biggest criticism, right? If they're not winning and being proactive, it's clear that they're just not the best at responding. Here comes Strikers, does find Leonard. Great little shotgun battle victory there for him. You know, it's a 2v1 essentially. And he's managed to take a kill and stop Rated R from doing anything further with that casualty.
Rated now, words are hard. Rated R now in control here. Looking solid with it as well. A nice little setup on this map. Sergio would be important if he wins this gunfight.
It's risky from Sergio. They've got control here. He doesn't need to have a nice risky
Would you expect
battle.
anything else?
Correct. Yeah, you summarised it there perfectly. Dragons, meanwhile, though, getting that double kill, allowing Rated R to push up on the tracks. Looking for Physics as well. They're going wide in him. That's pretty safe. Cougar's trying to react through the middle of the map, so he's going to be looking to prevent this triple cap. Toast has clocked him here. Big shotgun battle. Cougar's going to... No, actually... It won't be a triple cap potential coming in for Rated R. They've stopped. Strikers does find Sergio. As Cougars does finally get taken out. He's just lurking there. As Cog will win in 30 seconds. Chris, if things do not change, our damage, we're looking to apply pressure here at the B-hole.
Looking good for Rated R. They're in a solid spot. That train's probably going to help them out as well, just to slow down the push. Here comes Toast from behind, though.
Brilliant back air that was.
Yeah, really nicely done against Strikers, and that might just cut away a couple of the resources. They're going to have to try and push him out before they want to make the push towards B. They eventually do get rid of him. Can they find Dov as well? This is a big gunfight. They find him. It's not going to be enough, though. Just too little too late, you feel. Hold on, I tell you what. Big gunfight going to go on here. Zorkos dominating from the grave, if you like, or trying to at least. The domination is denied. Leonard is going to get pushed away. How has this happened? If you're rated R, you're 2 for it. You're 2 points away. It does not matter. Dov just about gets there in time. Oh, just about finds Rita. Can Physics make the push through? Not quite. They will just about win it. Oh, wow. That was very, very close. That was very, very close. 3 minutes it took to find a rated R round, but things got spicy towards the end there. I was writing them off. Honestly, I had our damage just looking like they were going to dominate. Just about got in if you're rated R.
Yeah, there was a point there that our damage, honestly, they didn't have to cap that last hill. They could have just tried to, play it slow and prevent the cap coming in from rated R and really, force those false overextensions. But no, rated R, they do hold the nerve on in the end despite a really good attempt from our damage. And yeah, that really caught us by surprise. I'm sure fans alike in the stream. But 2-1. Radar certainly not out of this yet, Chris.
Absolutely not.
And thankfully, they are showing that they can play a bit more comfortably here on a more Gears-centric map in the form of Asylum. In terms of placements, nothing special. We have two shocks again from both these teams. Nothing,
Shock halved on the side of Rated R. Yeah,
exactly. And of course, this is the last round of the half. You know what, Rated R? Try and get to that B hill quicker. Use your numbers. And see if we can start off here with a bit more impact, but no, they've been a little bit slow. Sergio, he's been caught out here. Striker's got their first. Damage is not on his side, and Zorkos isn't even going to contest that fight over the wall. Here come the reinforcements and our damage. You know what? They just take 3 down there, already looking for that flank from Toast.
If they can get rid of Toast and Dov here quickly, they're going to be in a really good spot. Here come our damage converging on C. Can they get something done here? Zorkos is going to find one. Physics trying to find Dov, now has the help of his teammates, but here come our rated R off the back of the spawn. Everybody going down here, everybody hitting the floor. It's going to be Zorkos remaining just all alone. Here comes the flash, that's going to help him out as well. Here comes Dragons though, but here comes Rita. The support comes through. It's going to be time for Toast to be able to break this one, but is it going to be enough? It doesn't feel like it. Sergio, they just keep on running through. It's like a train of rated R players, and they eventually get some sort of controller-C just about. It's early in the round as well, so they have plenty of time to play with yet. And they will actually get some control over towards B. If they send everybody over, they will send everybody over, but nicely done by rated R, just about to survive. Our damage, unfortunate not to take that round.
Yeah, perhaps, our damage should have taken that 2v1 against Toast a little bit coolly, more calmly, shall we say. As Toast was able to get quite a bit of damage on both players and kill one. Here comes Rated R over at the B hill. They managed to break it. They're certainly not out of this just yet, Chris. They just need to keep their lives now. Reset, calm down their strategies, and just wait for all players to ready up for a big play. You see Dov just taking up control here in the middle corridor. Everyone is sat in a strong position. It's now the onus on our damage to make the play on these train tracks.
And the grenades have come up in play as well, so they could be there to help the push come through, you feel?
There is time. There is time 100%. To play with. 70 seconds. It is a nice little lead for our damage. But Cog, of course, with that win condition. There is the push that our damage need to make over at the B hill. Big shotgun battles now. Leonard on his own. Cougars with the double at star player now performing as he's known for back in Gears 4. Toast does get down though, meanwhile. Anything's possible at this point as Dov comes through, and you've just spotted it as well. What have you spotted, Chris?
But that Rita is no longer going to come up, neither is Leonard. So it is actually momentarily a 4v4 as Respawn's starting to come into it. Strikers is down as well. 3v4 in favour of rated R here. The lives reset after this round. So we're in a totally bad spot here. If you are our damage, this should be rated R 3-1 if they use the numbers to their advantage. Saying that though, a 2 cap might not be enough yet.
Yep, they need 1 hill, do our damage.
They just need 1.
One hill and Redder, he isn't alive. There come the angles, rated R. You just need to use your numbers at this point. You need to be aggressive. They got the break in time.
Domination
will come through.
Nicely done.
Very interesting round actually there. Redder just about to run out of lives, and that could have been the difference maker in that all-important team fight at the end there. Yeah,
and it's come down to that in the end. There's been a couple of occasions where they've had to throw everybody in, and with slaying very much in rated R's favour. It's just been such a topsy-turvy game. Such a close map number 1. An absolute blowout by our damage on map number 2. But here we go. Rated R 3-1 up at the half yet. As we do change our points, we are going to go back over towards the entrance or over towards bridge as it's more aptly known.
Look at the numbers though. Rated R, 4 players over towards that E hill, not being aggressive. Perhaps they should have been taking those covers that you can see that R damage player or 2 taking on E. They've rotated down the middle. Are they going to do anything with it? Yes, they are. Here comes Dragons on the back. Physics hasn't clocked him though. This could be it to confirm this capture and the kills. Physics will get taken down. Or rather, he'll get a kill himself, somehow staying alive in that situation. No idea how, Chris, but it is not going to be ideal as a number situation over at the E-Hill.
Yeah, not ideal, but they've done enough. The fact that the kills did get traded away is okay, and they will still stay in this round.
You'd expect Radar to do a bit better there. I mean, I'm surprised Physics would have stayed actually stayed alive at that point. They do get the E-Hill, mind you, so let's see. Kuka's flying through, flashbang, perfect, and he takes advantage. Great up air on Leonard. And will they continue this pressure? Our damage, again, rolling out there, not overextending as that first player, Redder, got taken down. They got the capture, and that's textbook from them. No lives thrown.
Well, currently it is just about, or was our damage winning the game of Tug of War up here. Ever so often is, isn't it? It's this case where, you know, it's just trading the hill. Who wins the gunfights? Who can get a hold of it and then win the gunfight when the pressure comes through?
Great shot. Just cut off one player and left Physics on his own. Nice little 2v1. Capture coming in for Rated R now. They can just roll back at this point and play it safe once their health is regained. Actually, we've got a bit of a pinch. Dragons comes through the middle once again. Gets 1 kill. Leonard follows up. And this could actually lead to a domination here. Red is going to fall. It is.
Everybody drops and suddenly Rated R just turn it on its head. 4-1 now. They are 1 round away from taking this series, and it would be a big one for them. They take map number 1 in the final round. They get battered on Vazgat. But right now, though, they are running through our damage, and that comes down, I know you'd be saying to back it up, but they had so many opportunities to flank. They've done that a couple of times now. It's been Dragons each and every time, and that's why when they are up top there at the top bridge, they can then collapse so quickly. Cog loadout coming in for Sergio. He will get a grenade. On the side of things, though,
you know, our damage, they don't need to respond they don't need to respond with a huge weapon placement. You know, they've clocked Dragons twice now coming through the middle on the flank. They're going to be watching that like hawk, I think, at this point. So.
I mean, I'd argue against it, though, because they've lost 4 rounds in a row, so it's like, well...
Again, do you change it up? It is the second half. That was 1 round. Do you rely on that change of dynamic to see you through? Right now, eliminations-wise, it is, of course, all Rated R at the top there.
No, you just risk it all, Toby. Risk it all.
you just want intensity, do you, Chris?
Yes, I do, yes.
You know what? I wouldn't disagree at this point. Oh, look at this from Aggressive. For aggression from Rated R. Sergio already getting it down before I can get up to the scoreboard. He's flying through. Shot grenades thrown, and Leonard's going to get caught. Zorkos staying alive as the dust settles. Only 2 players left alive of Rated R. Dov trapped in this corner. Simple flashbang for Dov. I think Zorkos will follow up on this kill. Just going to get control of the E-Hill. And this is what I mean by Asylum. It's so important staying alive up top here, because you can get caught out so easily on these small covers. And that is something that Radar needs to keep a very close eye on now. Big flashbang. Radar staying alive. Perfect. You saw it coming. Sergio tried to be snappy and get him before he can run away.
And here goes the Tug of War, where our damage should be able to push back through.
Nice little count. 2 downs. Our damage going to follow up. Another... This revive chain, is it going to be enough? I don't think it is. Our damage is just going to keep running through. Dov stuck in a corner, taken down. Nicely done from Redder. No lives lost for our damage, and a capture of the hill. Very well played from the French side.
Nicely done, but here come Rated R once again. That game of Tug and War up top. Who can win the... It's just like a damage battle, isn't it? It's a damage battle. You put the points down, people have to then back up, then you can maybe make an advantage push to get yourself in a better position to then capture the E-Hill. It is our damage with the...
Love it.
Category to win this one, though. It's a very good shot grenade, as you point out, though, Toby. Strikers is the only one to answer back, and they can't make the push here. This should be E over towards Rated R now. Leonard will just have to try and back on down here, though, as the aggression comes through for our damage. Here goes Zorkos. Plenty of shots going to go into Leonard, but he's going to maybe get a little bit overzealous just with the pistol out. Here comes the aggression from Leonard. Rita is going to find one at Sergio. Leonard now in a bit of a 1v2, getting a little bit too aggressive. You maybe have to see him back up there. So now our damage will flow on through. I think he was probably dead anyway, let's be honest, but our damage now in control of E.
Honestly, excellent play from Leonard getting that down initially, but even better from Rita staying alive in a 2v1, getting the kill and the revive instantly. very common play in previous Gears games. His experience shows that very important moment for this team fight. Nice little shock, trapping dragons. Sergio gets downed as well, and this is where the war attrition gets even more important.
Point out that dragons is already down to 0 respawns.
Oh, you've spotted that. Very quickly indeed in the second half. My oh my. Strikers with the double. That's another kill as well. Toast the last one alive over that E-Hill. Elimination coming through, and Chris, our damage are not out of this yet. A difficult round, but they see it through and end that all-important rated R streak.
And they get a lot out of that as well. I want to just check the respawns when we can. Let's have a look. So 2, 3, 4, 3, 3 on the side of rated R. On the other side of things, though, it's a little bit healthier. I thought it was maybe a little bit more than that, but it's definitely a couple of kills, a couple of respawns, I should say, in the favour of our damage. Let's have a look at the weapon placements to see what's going to go down. It looks like a shock grenade is going to be half there on the side of our damage. How are rated R going to answer back? It's probably going to potentially.
He's thinking. I mean, he's dragging his cursor across the screen.
Yeah,
and
get rid of it.
At this point,
yep.
Yeah, have a shock grenade
so you
advantage.
have ultimate control up towards E here. You have the shock grenade. Rated R. It is in their hands here. It feels like it's in their hands.
They have the ability to really be aggressive here. They can either trap our damage and use their numbers to ensure they just do not survive that team fight.
But if I'm our damage, I just don't go too near it, to be honest. Let them have it and then try and take it back when the shots are gone.
You can see Zorkos actually, he was kind of very aware of that shock grenade coming through, and they've just played their life perfectly. Redder getting down to physics, Zorkos as well. Rated R, they're having a terrible time at E-Hill. They thought they'd have it easy with that shock grenade, but our damage, they read it very early on indeed. And now, Rated R, they're against the wall.
Rated R had the shock grenade and they'd find absolutely nothing for it. But this time around, it's just, as you said, it's that war of attrition up top. Backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Who can gain the small advantages? Here we go from Rated R now, looking to try and put this one to bed. The final nail in the coffin. Rita's in a terrible spot there, but the shot's going to come through from Cougars just to support him. But this looks like it will just about go over towards Rated R. They should be able to jiggle the hill as much as they can. They get a hold of it. D&E now in their favour, but you feel the push coming through from our damage at some point here as well. And the thing is here as well, both these teams being very linear. It's just literally head-butting each other over towards E. Which way is it going to go this time, though? Dragons is going to find 1 and 2. Eventually did drop 1, but Cougars eventually was picked up. Good shots going to come in through. Zorkos is going to go down, as you said. Some meaty shots taken by Arita. Yeah, Rated R getting very, very aggressive. The push comes through from our damage. It's not quite enough, though, as everybody is dropping. 3 members remaining and 5 remaining from Rated R. They are hunting here as well, Toby. Physics in a bad spot. Strikers is dead. They know they're just trying to find a couple more kills here. Shot's going to go into Physics. It's going to be put between a rock and a hard place. Luckily for our damage, they are trying to get a hold of E here, but they haven't got it. If you surely just go for the domination here, the domination could be coming through over towards E. They go back towards F. Rated R could just close this one out here. Have to be careful of the trains coming through.
They have a huge points lead now, though, at this point. The triple cap opportunity is gone. I want them flying back at E at this point. Our damage, the onus is on them. They don't have that shot grenade, of course. And this is what they do have for Rated R, that shot grenade to delay time. This could be it, Chris.
That could be it.
Rated R just need to hold on to their nerve and play their lives.
25 more seconds for Rated R to get a huge win against our damage. This will put them in a much better spot. Rita's going to go down to the train as well. Check the timetables, buddy. He's coming flying through. Zorkos and Kodo are going to get a hold of E, but I think 1 hill should be enough for Rated R to close this one out. It will be if they can hold on to it for 20 more seconds. The overextensions come through from Toast as well. He couldn't have played it better. The kills are now in the favor of Rated R as well. Toast wants to put this one to bed. Rita will put him to sleep momentarily. I don't think it'll be enough. Rated R will take a huge win against our damage. 2-1. And they just played basic gears maybe a little bit better than our damage there. They did it just about on map number 1 with a 5-4 victory. They get slaughtered on Vazgar, but then come back with a very convincing win on Asylum. 2-1 Rated R. It's the way I predicted it, but not quite in the way that I thought it would roll.
You definitely win the prediction game.
I 100% win it.
I mean, yes, you predicted the game, but who would have thought it would have gone just like that?
Yeah, it was weird.
You know? Yeah. 5-0 on Vazgar. Do we really think Rated R would return with such a convincing round count there on Asylum?
You wouldn't think so. You know, it's one of those where I just never want to see Rated R ever pick Vazgar again. This is how we found ourselves with a Rated R 2-1 victory. District went over to Rated R. Very, very tense, and it was. I think that's where, if you are damage in this game, you look towards that final round over on District, and you say to yourselves, well, we were in a really good spot. We lost a couple of gunfights, lost everything in terms of map control, in terms of power weapons, and then we ultimately lose the map. Because of that, they go through and slaughter them on Vazgar. So if you are damaged, I mean, that's one positive they can take from this, is that they definitely feel confident on Vazgar. They hadn't picked it before this. It slips its way through. They play well on it. But then over towards Asylum, questions will be asked of R Damage. 5-2 to Rated R. And they just won that war of attrition up top, especially in the second half. They were just battling backwards and forwards. I honestly thought R Damage were going to come back into it when we seen the fact that Dragons was then dropping down to so many low lives. But in the end, managed to stay alive for a couple of rounds, gets back into the swing of things. Looked good for Rated R in the end. Really, really solid.
I think the moral of the story for R Damage actually is to close maps out at this point. I mean, honestly, Asylum, they was pretty neck and neck. I don't think I could criticize R Damage too much there. It's just Rated R seemed to have the better game in the war of attrition, shall we say, especially in that second half. But no, concerning times for District, of course, because there were so many rounds where R Damage could have closed it out, but Rated R came out of nowhere. They weren't having a great game with Rated R at the start on the home street. R Damage seemed to be controlling that. But of course, 4 rounds in a row, I believe it was, for Rated R in the end on District.
Yes.
R Damage, you only needed 1 round. I think that's where, if you're going to blame at any point, of the performance for the French side, that's it for them.
Yeah, not very good. Not very good for R Damage this week. However, they will retain their second place spot as we have a look at the standings. They will stay there, but things are a lot closer. OB Alliance, terrible week for them, unfortunately. Yes. You run into EU's finest, and then in this case, you're now in a spot where you are last because Rated R take that game. Very, very close, though. It could completely change up. We've got 1 more week to go here. But the only thing that is pretty much certain is that EU's finest remain at the top. You aren't playing on damage again. Rated R can't catch. So EU's finest absolutely finishing in number 1 spot. However, for the rest of them, looking at it, so R Damage will play, if I believe right, they will play OB Alliance. So Rated R, if they got to win against EU's finest, R Damage are still in a dangerous spot here. So all to play for in the final week. It's going to be interesting before we go over towards San Diego to see how this one ends up. But it's all about the relegation battle now. It's all about that. Rated R need to find a big performance up against EU's finest, if I believe correctly. Yeah, that should be right. They haven't played them in the second span of things. So Rated R have it all to do there. But OB Alliance are sitting in that 4th spot. It's not looking good for them.
Yeah, I think now that this week is done, looking at that Pro League leaderboard for EU, I think things have returned to homeostasis a bit more. EU's finest, they finally have actually separate themselves. They've got 2 win differential from everyone else. Everyone else on 2 wins, trading wins from each other, and Rated R back from what has been not great start for them in this season. And OB, of course, have dropped to the bottom now after playing EU's finest.
Yes.
Those things could change, though. R Damage, of course, as well for them. Not too successful tonight, and those 3 teams, they're neck and neck, and EU's finest have separated themselves, of course, most importantly.
And I think the disappointing thing is for R Damage is the fact that they've went to 2 map 3s the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're right.
And they've lost them, so that's a disappointing thing for them. But we will close that one out. The meta may have changed, but who reigns on top in EU is not changing at the moment. It has to be said, EU's finest looking as good as ever. Can they close it out in week number 6 with another win before San Diego? We'll find out who is going to be in the relegation battle next week. You don't want to miss it.
Listen to the wind blow, down comes the night. Break the silence, damn the dark, damn the light. And if you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you saying you must never break the chain. I can still hear you saying you would never break the chain.
This is my kind of